do it. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to Die Rolling on the most fabulous of days, Pancake Day.
Is it?
Yeah, so we celebrate. Yeah, it's Pancake Day. You didn't know it was Pancake Day?
Well,
Oh, you should have had the last pancake.
Somebody needs to make
Just
this
had
man
some pancakes.
make this man a pancake right now.
I learnt what Shrove means today.
What does it mean?
What Shrove means?
no.
In the comments.
In the comments. Right, answers on a postcard if you wouldn't mind. That's good to know.
Sure,
I should know that.
I'm sure it's got something to do with badly behaving people.
I'm going to try and use it in the session.
Yeah,
Oh,
as many
excellent.
times as you can, use
Yeah.
Shrove
Okay.
in this session for a chance at inspiration. Okay, well,
You're full of shit.
is that what it means? Wow, all these years going to church, nobody told me that.
So what does that mean? You're
He's a
supposed
real Shrove, if you know what I
what
mean.
does that mean? You're supposed to put in your pancakes then?
Yeah.
Yeah, good lord.
Cue the intro.
Can you intro? Yeah, that's a good point.
Hello, boys. Pink lemonade?
Mom!
Did you ever say that? They said
No.
that? Good.
They
Hey,
might
man,
have
do you
done
want to buy
it.
some Smurf?
We left
Smurf me, baby.
the majority of the party, at
Snuffing
least
about.
3 of the 4 members of the party, in Brightfield. Some of you will remember that. If you don't remember it, check back last episode. Don't worry, we'll wait for you.
Oh, is the intro finished?
It has, yeah. I just occasionally talk to myself and like that, so it's hard for people to know that we've actually gone live.
I thought you were just rehearsing.
Yeah, this is just what I do. Yeah, I just feel like I need to constantly be on. You know, it's a problem that I have. But we left the party in Brightfield. You met some of the locals. You managed to not cause a humongous ruckus, which was good. You were introduced to a lovely place called Traitor's Mile, which you may or may not remember. You were told about a couple of places, but I'll let you remember those. As is true D&D lore, if you've forgotten something, it no longer exists. I believe the party was heading north to Brightgate to enter the Renthari proper, or the actual city, the main road that runs through kind of the shanty town of Brightfield. And with that, we shall begin.
How very Shrove of you.
How very Shrove.
Let's try this music for a bit.
Yeah, see what this is like. Ooh,
Nice.
that's good.
Thank you.
Well chosen.
Thank you.
Well Shroved.
No.
Oh, it's going to be a long night.
So you find yourself in the shanty town. You start moving north up through a path. There are houses kind of tousled together in various places. They're of different sizes. There's not much uniformity here. You see little bits of tradecraft here and there, metalwork, leatherwork, people doing weaving and kind of fabric work as well. Mostly repairing things and kind of scratching a living out of what they have. Also, time of day is probably about mid-morning by this point. I think you slept and then walked down a cliff. Yeah, so you'll be around about mid-morning. So there might be people gathering things in pots together, starting looking for lunch. Those that eat it, not everybody will do here. But you're travelling north.
Not to do some admin,
Yes.
but Felix will be looking for somewhere to buy a cloak
Nice.
for someone the size of around about a halfling-ish.
there'll be plenty of people selling bits of fabric, or plenty of fabric on display.
Yeah.
Whatever you buy here won't be particularly fine quality, which will be notable in certain areas.
Yeah. He wants an old canvas cloak.
You will have an array of colours at your disposal, mostly earthly colours like
Brown.
green, brown, maybe a grey if you're lucky, but
Tan.
yeah, you'll be able to get a tan pretty easily. Yeah,
Lovely.
cool.
I would like to purchase a tan canvas cloak.
You have a conversation with a lovely woman who's aging in human years.
I'm just very hairy, it's fine.
Yeah. It won't be expensive, but it will cost you something. How much are you willing to pay for this cloak?
Preferably nothing, but I don't know how much cash I've got on me actually. Can our bank manager deal with it?
He's gone. He's like, he's just like done that Homer Simpson.
Melts into the background.
Have you printed from D&D Beyond, Josh?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
fine.
I have.
That bit there.
Oh, I will give her some monies. Felix doesn't have a very good feeling for how much things are worth anyway.
You probably have to Shrove it to start with.
Yeah, so he's going to like flip a gold at GP and he's going to be like, oh, can I get change for one of these?
Change for that? I mean, unlikely.
No.
I was just going to think a few copper pieces would be perfect.
Then a few copper pieces. Change, please.
I cannot. I don't think anyone in the whole of Brinefield would be able to change that for you, sir.
Okay, can anyone give me change?
Didn't we all get some silver coins from the? I can't find it on my sheet to be honest, but didn't we all get some silver coins from the toilet?
I don't think you did actually.
No, we didn't get any cash because it all went to one party member.
I will pay. I'll pay a silver piece for Felix's
Very
cloak.
generous.
Got you. And you want to put in any extras for that extra little bit of?
We sell clothes, not particularly fine, but
Do you sell patches? Can I get some
yes,
patches?
of course. Bits of offcuts of material in the same colour, or
No, I was thinking like maybe with little icons on and like.
not quite like this. No.
No.
You'd be looking at a regalia store. It would be one in Rentory Prime. If that's what you are.
Thank you very much. Cool. So he's going to wear this canvas cloak, and hopefully that kind of starts to hide the fact that he is a fur knight a little bit, other than his snout poking out.
So you're deliberately trying to shield yourself.
Hood up,
with this cloak.
yeah, and he can carry his own sword now as well, which would be lovely.
I might occasionally ask you to roll a check for that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So have a think about what you will use, whether you're performing, whether you're kind of stealthing it. It's kind of really good.
Elantrex is keeping a general eye out for anywhere anywhere slightly quirky in a spiritual or alchemical sense.
You can make an investigation check.
Not great. Oh no, pretty good. 13.
13. You're walking through plenty of places that are a mixture of small, almost like street vendors slash houses. Like, there's no real difference where one starts and the other begins. People are selling various things. Nothing really catches your attention. It's very low level stuff here. But people are openly buying and selling things with each other.
Consider she's still going to be looking for that when we walk into the nicer bit.
Cool. Okay. You're travelling further north. As you do, you come across a walled section. So there's this relatively large wall. It's made out of a white stone, and you've seen similar stonework before. In fact, you guys haven't, but as an adventuring group, we have seen similar things before. Has any of this party? I don't believe so. But it's a white stone of some description. It's relatively shiny in the bright light of the golden spell. It's kind of sheer from this side as far as you know. There's no kind of it's coming up in the distance, and it is fairly bright. Immediately you see kind of a portal within it of some description that's made out of some kind of darker wood, and you kind of immediately get the idea of why this place is called Brightgate, and hence bright field surrounding it. It's quite eye-catching to see this gate as you walk through. You can be around if you so wish. It's up to you, Thanes. Or you can play it cool for now.
You can Shrove about.
Or Shrove about the place.
Don't expect us to Shrove
Yeah.
when you arrive, though.
Oh, I was hoping at least for a little Shroving.
A mild Shrove.
A mild Shrove.
We might be able to stretch to a semi-Shrove.
I will be sort of lurking about near the gate.
Okay.
In a pose of, where the hell have you been? I've been waiting here for hours.
Nice, I like it. Flipping a coin.
Yeah. Ping. Shrove a coin.
Shredding coins we go.
I think there's an episode title here.
Yeah. I've already had that one.
So you've presumably been there a little while, you kind of tracked, you believe the party to this area, you've kind of been there at the gate a little while. Are you deliberately trying to prevent people looking at you? Are you kind of keeping it cool? How are you kind of
I'm not going to
behaving?
be standing right out in the open, but equally I don't want to look like I'm trying to hide myself. I'm just
Trying to keep it down.
surreptitious.
How long have you kind of been there, do you reckon?
Not as long as I'd like to make out.
Cool.
I did some tracking the night before, and kind of because these guys took although it's the more direct route, it was in fact took them a lot longer than it took me to get to this point.
That's right.
So
You were travelling alone, you're relatively rapid.
I've been here about an hour or so.
Cool.
Expected to see them coming. Heard on the grapevine of a group of strange travellers going through the village. I thought, rings a bell.
Yeah, you will have seen kind of a big group of people react to something. You assume that was your compatriots. In that time, you've seen a few things. You've seen kind of a guard change over on the gate. The gate is shut. It's made out of a... I'm going to re-explain this in a minute, so take notes. It's made out of some kind of heavy wood, you guess oak. You don't know your way around a tree, I imagine, but you're guessing some kind of a heavy oak wood. It's bound by kind of a heavy black metal, which is probably some form of crude iron. Just got to keep it to bind this thing together. So it's made to be resistant to folk, should we say. There are kind of grates within it where people can talk through it, and occasionally this gate's opened for individuals. When that happens, it kind of opens literally ajar and then comes back again. It opens on hinges rather than portcullis.
I will have kind of been paying attention to who is allowed to go through
Very well
and
done.
what processes they have to go through in order to go through.
Very well done.
So if there's a secret knock, I know it by now.
Yeah, you're listening in. Can you make me probably an insight roll or even an investigation if you want to go do that, but you'll get slightly different information depending which one you use.
Let's have a look, see. So I'll go for investigation.
Go ahead.
Bosh. That is 21.
Whoa, well done.
Well, I went for investigation.
There is some form of check happening. People have been asked why they want to enter the city. The questions they are asking makes it seem somewhat irrelevant as to what the answers are, as long as they're not obviously lying. Often, the only people who are granted admittance are elves. So of the perhaps handful of people you've seen enter, they were all elves. All of some, at least a couple of which you probably saw leave through the same gate, so they've kind of come out and come back in. There were at least one half elf has passed and kind of entered, but that's all you've seen so far. Of particular note, at one point, an elven, you believe, man, hard to kind of tell from kind of you listening in, has both left and re-entered that same word. He's just kind of been allowed to leave and enter. He wears kind of a dark grey cloak and a wide-brimmed hat, but he's been allowed to kind of come and go as he sees fit. That is all you've kind of seen this time. And the questions are, what do you want him? They're calling it Renthar's Rest, which is obviously specific for some reason. And what business do you have here? How long are you intending to stay? The questions aren't always the same, but something of that nature. as this is happening, unless any of the party are deliberately trying to do anything else, you will all meet one another at this gate.
Good morning, lady, gentlemen, and I use that word in this most widest sense. Nice to see you.
Hello, Phineas.
Vinny.
Took your time.
Do you like my new canvas?
Very good. I like it. Yeah, it makes you look entirely unlike anything else that I've ever seen anywhere.
Oh. Okay.
But it makes you look less like a walking dog.
That was the plan.
This appears to be the only way into the city without going leagues out of our way.
You're good at this kind of thing, aren't you?
I think I could probably get in being who I am. Maybe.
I'm going to be honest, I trust you, don't take this the wrong way, but marginally more likely to have success getting through the gate without doing damage to everybody here.
I wouldn't have to do damage to them.
This
I'd make them feel like I was going to shrove them up good and proper. They let me in.
Keep your Shrove down.
I mean, you will be able to get in.
It's not me I'm worried about so much.
These two,
It's
I should be okay.
We can buy our way in, surely,
These
right?
two.
Elves shrove and love gold.
I might be able to get one of you through.
Yeah.
Maybe this one.
This one. Yeah. I'm only small.
I was actually thinking, you might not be happy about this, but I might be able to get him through as your companion. Him as your pet?
That's me chuckling.
Well,
I've seen a lot of people come and go, and they've all been elves with a few half elves.
Make me a prisoner.
We need a good reason to be going in there as well.
What you do in your spare time is up to you.
I mean, I can be your
Bodyguard.
bodyguard. That will pass. I think that will give that. That will cover me enough.
And I could be your long lost pal. And you can call him. No.
the Malcolm
It could work.
Yeah, I learned this off a guy I knew in the city.
I think Landrix is the best one to go first. She's got the pointies.
I'm
She's
a
got the white
student.
cloak.
I'm a student of Nell.
Could
They
work.
bloody love the Nell, right? Oh, woe is me. Oh, is to the books.
Oh no, the books and things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love books.
We might potentially need a plan B.
I mean,
I've got over bigger wolves than that.
okay. Well, just nothing that draws attention to us.
Okay.
More than needs be.
Keep it on the Shreve.
How big are these stones that make this wall? Does it look climbable?
Oh, they are. Yeah, they're huge. They're not only that, but they're kind of sheer-faced and almost shiny. If you rubbed your finger on it, it'd be smooth.
They don't have
and
any
smooth.
handholds or anything.
It's almost impossible to tell where one of these bricks start.
Nowhere someone could stick a claw.
Yeah, if you really, really look for it, you can see that they are made out of hewn stone. But
Yeah.
it's very well made.
Okay. There's no way I'm scaling that thing, so.
I did discuss a video earlier with Ollie of a cat going up a sheer glass surface.
So it is possible. It is possible. And I should point out this thing is easily kind of 25, 30 foot tall. It's a sheer height. It's hard to tell from where you're stood whether it has a perimeter that you can walk around or whether it is just to a point. Or,
Yeah, you might climb all the way up there, look over the top, and straight into the eyes of 20 guardsmen. Hello.
Is it too late to change into a druid?
Yeah, don't splice. Yeah, turn into a spider. Yeah. Because they're a little jumpy anyway, but a gigantic spider crawling on the wall, that's probably going to be fine.
Nobody would notice that at all. No.
She's going to find somewhere as secluded as possible. Is that just some kind
It's
of...
kind of hustle and bustle, but there's few people going through the gate, so
Yeah.
you could probably find a nook somewhere
Okay.
within kind of this array of houses.
Yeah,
There's loads of little alleyways
Yeah.
and twittens and things, isn't there?
it doesn't need to be
You can
anything...
keep a watch.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be anything too absurd. I'm not doing anything too lavish, but I just want to be able to put my hand on Castan's shoulder and cast guidance, which gives you a minute, and then you can add a d4 to one ability check of your choice.
You better do it when I'm not looking.
She'll try and do that.
Cool, we better get a move on then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you walk up to this gate. As you get closer, you realise that it is. It's made out of this thick oak wood, and there's like a grill in it almost. The gate seems to be of a very different craftsmanship to the housing around it. The housing it's almost awe-inspiring. It's quite beautifully made. The gate is fairly ugly as far as craftsmanship is concerned. It's heavy. It's deliberately made to look perhaps intimidating. But it's made of this strong wood with this kind of covered in lots of dark iron banding that's holding the thing together. There's this iron grill within it. You approach it.
I'm going to drop my hood down to show my ears and look my poise as elven as possible, emphasising the elf side of my halfness rather than the half side of my halfness.
Yeah, okay. I would love to see what that looks like, right? As you get a little bit closer, who's leading the pack? Yourself?
It'll be Antrix, yeah.
Good, Elantrix is leading the pack. As you come forward, as you get closer to this grill, you can kind of see through it. It's really hard because it's quite fine.
They're going to ask you why you need to be here.
You can see kind of a vague form of the face behind this grill. It stood quite close to it, actually, probably only a foot away. Who goes there?
My name is Atlantrix. I'm of the Augurs of Now.
An augur. Wonderful. What business do you have in Renthar's Rest?
I'm travelling on my way through the Elven Gate, on my way to the northeast.
It's been a long time since we've had any of your kind. I'm sure you'll be welcome. Who are your companions? Are you travelling alone?
No, I have guard with me,
Okay.
and another of the Augurs.
By this point, I would have put some of my common clothes just over my head in a monkish, augury fashion. Probably slightly mockingly.
Look at me and my priestliness.
How long do you intend to stay in Renthar's Rest?
Not long. We'll take a rest here, maybe spend a little gold, and then head on after a day or so.
It's good to make your acquaintance. He turns over to one side and you hear shout, and basically everyone's speaking in Elvish. I should mention that. Shrove to one side. He just says, "Open the gate." You hear a huge bolt being undone, and the gate opens. But as it opens, it probably only opens kind of 3 foot. It's very slight. The gate with the grill in it opens out towards you. It's kind of 3 foot open.
And she's going to step through confidently.
Marvelous.
And
I'll usher these two through and go through last.
Marvelous. As you come through, the first thing you're confronted by is 2 of these walls that stretch on further. These kind of white marble-esque. Try not to use the word marble. Marble-esque walls stretching on further. However, on the inside, they're absolutely covered with beautifully ornate carvings from kind of the top of this 35, 40 foot wall all the way to the base. Every single inch is carved. It's actually kind of alarming. It's like hard to behold it all at once. But it's carved all the way down. It actually meets another gate, and you actually realise as this gate shuts behind you, you're in some kind of antechamber between these 2 gates. Depending how you feel about this, there are probably about 40 odd guards in this small space. Most of them are kind of busying themselves. There's a couple of barrels and there's things moving around, but there's probably a good 20 odd guards who are looking at you as you walk through.
Thorin releases a sea of leaves.
Of note, there's about
See how fast we can
10
run.
guards on either side that seem to be stood at some kind of ease, if you're aware of such things, all armed with a crossbow. And there's just kind of a silence as you walk in. There's a couple of people looking over to you. They don't seem overly concerned. But the other gate is at the far end, is roughly 40 feet away from you.
Elantrix will remain stoic, looking forward the whole time, not looking at any of them. She's got an icy cool to her, misty blue eyes and pale face, and she's just going to walk stoically forward, straight and confidently, trying to be as at ease as possible, but not looking intimidated.
Absolutely. So you continue to walk, people are busying themselves, these people with the crossbows are watching you, they don't seem overly intent. You see a couple of people whisper here or there, but you're not entirely sure whether they're being, at this point it's really hard to tell whether they're being threatening or whether they're just having a conversation. You get about halfway, and can you roll me an insight check, please? Or anyone can roll an insight check.
10.
10. There are a few conversations happening here and there.
I've got a 14 on an insight
14.
from the back.
You're from the back, you're kind of seeing new guards, if you like, notice that you're walking through. And a couple are kind of tapping each other's shoulder and just mentioning things to each other. In a normal circumstance in a town centre, that would probably be fairly normal. The fact that you're walking to this antechamber is quite alarming.
Continue forward, not breaking stride or adjusting pace.
As you get towards the end, this other gate's almost identical to the first. In fact, it's even got the same grille on it. It's like a mirror image of the one that you came through, almost as if they were manufactured by the same person, kind of made in exactly the same way. You hear kind of a low whistle, almost like, and as that happens, there's an individual in a grey cloak with a relatively wide-brimmed hat. Kind of you haven't seen up until now because he's kind of got within this mess of guards. He just turns around to look at you. Immediately, they're fairly striking. The first thing you notice is that they are, in fact, a half-elf, so not a full elf. Most of the people around you, as you've been trying to steal glances at them, have been elves. Perhaps there's the occasional half-elf. It would be difficult for most of you to know, apart from perhaps an Antrix, but there are a few half-elves here and there. This person is a half-elf. I won't tell you immediately everything that you see about them, because I'll leave that up to what you roll and how you decide to roll it. They're obviously wearing this grey cloak, they've got a relatively wide-brimmed hat. And as they see you, they walk over to the gate and stand almost deliberately in your way to kind of see you come in. It's roughly 20 feet away from you by this point. 15 foot away from you.
Bless you.
That's carry.
Okay, well, I guess we continue to approach into a normal distance away for conversation.
You can stop right there if you don't mind.
She does.
You're an ogre, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
You and your friends gonna make trouble here.
No, of course not.
What is your business in Renthar's Rest?
We are here to stop off, spend a little gold, perhaps stay the evening, and then head northeast.
Nah, I don't mean to be frosty, but we haven't seen any of your kind for a little while. So it's strange you come on a day like this.
Why a day like this?
Shrove Tuesday.
Well, we're all stroving at the
The
moment.
Festival of the Shrove. See, I told you we should have bought some.
What do you know about what's going on here in Renthar's Rest? Anyone telling you nothing?
No, not a great deal.
Good.
Please.
Got some mighty fine traveling companions here. You guys been traveling together long?
My guard, another of my augurs, and my animal.
Now, you know the law as best as anyone else around here. Kind of strange you're bringing new initiative here. Is not quite seen the city, if you know what I mean.
He is an understudy of sorts. He listened to the way of the augurs and seek to join our mission. Nothing strange there.
Now, Lantrix, am I saying that right, Lantrix?
Correct.
Now, I was born here. My mom was born here, my daddy was born here. We don't like trouble around here, okay? None of that big city nonsense. Now, you're welcome here. Well, we already got our own troubles of our own, okay? We don't need any more adding into it. If any of these companions of yours start misbehaving, I'm going to have to hold you personally responsible, you understand?
I understand. There'll be no trouble for us.
Well, you folk best be getting on then. Now watch your step. Now, Lantrix, I'd like to talk to you a little bit longer, if you wouldn't mind. Maybe send your companions out ahead.
Okay.
Open the gate. The gate slowly opens again. It's only kind of 3 foot wide.
Okay.
Sure.
I will make eye contact with this fellow as I walk past him. Just look him up and down.
Yeah. You get a good look at him.
I'm trying to play the part of the guard, reluctantly giving up his charge here. So I'm sizing him up.
You can make a performance check if you wish.
You do a play if you want.
You do the play. It goes so well.
Do a song, make a little dance. Ooh, I'm rocking the dice rolls at the moment. 21.
21, well done. He gives you an eye back, and you for a brief moment seem to share some form of connection. You're both half-elves in worlds that you didn't really choose. As you walk by, you catch a glint of jade from around his neck. He's wearing a jade amulet that he wears around his neck. You look into his eyes and you actually notice that one of them is slightly injured, or an old injury. It's not uncommon amongst half-elves, but he has an old injury, so he's probably blind in one eye. You do see that beneath his cloak it's quite ill-fitting, that it's quite bulky, meaning that he's probably armed and armoured. But he stares at you from underneath this kind of wide-brimmed hat as you go by. He's kind of fully dressed in grey.
What kind of hinges are on these doors?
Kind of hinges. You like a hinge. It's hard to tell because they're roughly internal to the stonework.
Okay.
So it's well made and well hewn. It's hard to tell entirely. But if you really took a good look at it, you could probably figure out how this thing goes together.
8 plus 9. Apparently I've lost all my sheets.
The power of paper.
Perception plus 3, 11.
11. It's really hard to tell. You notice that the innermost slat of this hard wood is slightly mobile, slightly flexible. You imagine that's because it's to hide some kind of hinging housing within the stonework, to stop somebody, for example, damaging the hinges and taking the gate down. So it's internal, it's very well made. So as you all walk through, if you choose to walk fully to the gate, this gate will start to close. And this individual, you don't know who they are, draws a little bit closer to you actually, doesn't wait for you to walk on. Now, I'm sorry for giving you the talking down, Lantrix. I know you're an augur and I know the law better than anybody, so I hope you don't take this to be overly frosty, but we got to be especially careful at times like this. You understand me?
I understand.
Now, I'm a patient man, and I don't like people being looked down on just because they're not from born around here. It's mighty unusual if you've been traveling with folks like that, but I'm sure you got your reasons, okay?
Well, you know as well as I do, the augurs have members that are non-elven.
That's right.
And I need a guard if I'm heading into the northeast.
You certainly do. The story seems to check out. He gets a little bit closer to you and drops his voice a little. We let a couple of people in a couple of days back. Said they came from the northeastern gate. I don't know what they're doing here, but I'm keeping a mighty close eye on them, whipping the people up and restore them. Now, I don't know if they're religious types. They certainly are augurs, but they're
seem to have a lot of sway. A lot of the people here start listening to them. Now you keep yourself careful. You start walking around with those folk. You might be getting in for more than you bargained for. You understand?
What kind of trouble are they stirring?
They're just saying words, nothing we haven't heard before. They came down from the Gnomish lands and seem to think that it's filled with some kind of illness and that it was the other races that caused it.
I see.
A lot of folk like to keep things pure, you know. I've always thought to live and let live, but we don't choose the laws that people make.
No. Quite right.
So be careful. We got a couple of important folks come to visit. I'd rather not make a stir while they're around. If word gets back to the king, we could be in real trouble real quick.
Yes.
Things are tense. Look after yourself.
I will.
Open the gate. The gate opens again about 3 foot, and he like immediately just goes on about what he's doing. He's almost forgotten that you're there, and kind of blends into the background.
She walks through and rejoins, if they're still there, her companions.
Yeah, the gate will shut behind you. Distinctively less guards after you've been through that antechamber. There's a few dotted here and there, but there's less. There seems to be a very intense section as you come in, and you almost breathe a little sigh of relief as you kind of, the rest of the Ranthar's rest doesn't seem militarized. But you're confronted with quite nice cobblestones that are dotted here and there, kind of timber frame buildings. They're not in any particular order. There is a very large space in the middle that obviously works as some kind of marketplace. There's no market set up right now. And there are timber framed buildings and houses that kind of make a centre or a square around kind of a central point. And then there's odd streets going here and there. That's kind of all you can see for the moment. Some of the buildings that you can see actually have like mezzanines or verandas that kind of come out. And that's quite unusual. You haven't seen this kind of work before if you're from Equa, for example, which is perhaps more built up and has a lot more buildings. This seems a little bit more relaxed. There's kind of mezzanines open and there's people open to the air. You imagine people, for example, eating out in the open.
That guy was a real douchebag.
What did he want to say to you?
Apparently, I'll relay.
Yeah.
These walls, this wall's mega thick, right? Does there look to be any clear ways up? Felix is looking for ways that they would get out quickly.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So they are, again, from the inside, it's kind of a little bit overwhelming to look at because it's carved from top to bottom with this intricate carving that goes all the way around.
Seems like an intricate waste of time.
Even with the carving, it'd probably be hard to get a foothold.
Yeah.
It'd be more possible, but it'd be hard to do. And you notice that all of the buildings, where in cities that are quite disorganised, the city wall almost makes part of the buildings. That's very much not the case here. It's about 10-foot distance between any building.
And there's no clear stairways up onto
Does it seem to
like
be?
a...
No, there's the odd, when it hits a corner, there's almost like a bit of wall that comes out, so it's made in straight rows, if you like, but there doesn't seem to be any stairways or anything like that.
If we ever need to get out of here, we are going to struggle. This place is much a prison for us as it is an opportunity.
I'm assuming when we came through between the two gates, there's no indication of whether either side of it was solid wall, or if we just came through a channel in between what is an inner wall and an outer wall.
It's really hard to tell. As you walked through the antechamber, there was no doors or entranceways.
Was it open to the sky as we came through?
It was open to the sky. Yes,
Right.
it was open to the sky as you walked through.
So we didn't come... Right, okay. So it's likely that it's an inner wall and an outer wall with
A shrove.
a shrove through the middle. Yeah.
Through the middle.
And the castle or the manor? It's kind of to the north of us,
It's
or
definitely to the north,
Yeah.
but from your memory, and you are stretching right back, it was a fair distance away. You remember seeing it almost on the far view of where you are. Just kind of vaguely doing geometry in your brain, you think you're still a fair way away from whatever that structure was.
And from where we're standing on the by the inner door, the wall stretches in both directions as
Both
far as the eye can
directions.
see, or does it curve round?
So to your left, it starts to curve, starts to curve round. To your right, it does stretch on. There's a row of buildings. You're not quite sure what they are, but they're timber framed and kind of white. These are kind of dark wood, much like the gate. But it does kind of continue along there, veering ever so slightly inwards, but not very much. The one on your left veers quite heavily to the left. Veers quite heavily inward is probably the best way to describe it.
Did that dude mention anything about the wood elf?
no, I didn't ask. But the people he mentioned clearly have had some kind of encounter with the same, I'm guessing, the same disease.
We should probably seek them out. But
Yes, but we need to do it subtly.
Any theory on who they might be?
No. Did he say they were gnomes? He said come from the
So they
gnomish.
come from the gnomish
Yeah.
lands, but that's all
Yeah.
we know.
They might be gnomes. Not definitely.
I would have thought he'd have specified gnomes if.
Perhaps. So I guess, yeah. We'll generally at all times be looking for anyone that looks like a gnome.
Yeah.
That can be assumed.
or a wood elf.
Yeah, or anyone
Or
covered
a
in,
wood elf.
or anyone covered in disease.
Yeah. Those three things.
Yeah.
Or anybody rabble rousing or looking like
soapbox.
causing trouble.
Mm.
Yeah. Anybody who looks vaguely suspicious, like, us, for instance.
Can you? Well, that is all possible. Obviously, you're in a city, so you suddenly found yourself in a city. This place is mid-morning, but it's still, even for this time of day, quite busy. And there's people busying themselves. The vast majority of people you see are elves. It's hard to tell for most of you whether some are elves and some are half-elves, but the vast majority are elvish-looking, at least. There is the occasional human that's not completely elves. You don't see a great deal of halflings around, but you do see the occasional human. Most people you see at this point are either moderately dressed or very finely dressed. It's obviously a place of some wealth, and there's a reason why they stay this side of this wall, because they are pretty wealthy in this area. There are kind of well-dressed men with well-dressed ladies. Some are, have kind of some kind of umbrella that kind of keeps them out of the sun that they're walking with. Even occasionally they aren't even carried by themselves, but carried by another attendant that would kind of shield them from the sun. But people are busying themselves. Some of the wooden buildings you see have signs outside them. They're obviously shops of some variety. But it's mid-morning, you're in a relatively busy city.
Despite the fact that I've never been here before and don't know the place, I immediately feel more comfortable.
Oh, good.
I'm in a city. I was born in the city. I grew up in the city. I'm in a city.
Absolutely.
I immediately feel more comfortable here than I did in the wilderness.
Yeah. You're starting to pick up certain things that you pick up in the city, certain smells, for example. You can smell that there's obviously bakeries here, there's obviously food here. You lose some of the smells you got before from kind of like tanneries and metalwork, and you start to replace it with kind of the other sights and sounds. Immediately apparent to yourself as a city dweller, it doesn't smell like waste, which means that this place has probably got some level of sewerage, which makes it fairly sophisticated. As far as you're aware.
But it also means there's potentially a way to get out.
Possible. So, where do we go from here?
Lunch. Let's have a look around.
Let's find some books.
He's uncanny. Yeah, well, it's very well.
She smiles. She's not completely devoid of humour.
Oh, thanks for sponsoring us, AVG Antivirus.
Yeah! Sponsored by AVG Antivirus.
Will this work against the Blackwood Elf thing?
Yeah, that'd be really
The
useful.
mushroom plague.
I guess we just wander. We wander.
Kinda
We
wander.
wander forward.
Yeah. Can you make me a group? Trying to think, blending in check, performance probably.
Yeah.
To make it look like you're not meandering.
But we are meandering.
13.
Makes it look like you're not tourists.
We are tourists.
15.
So that was 15. Sorry, give me
13.
13.
14.
Performance, that's
4.
4.
yeah.
It's going so well.
Yeah. You're too comfortable.
Map. Red.
People do kind of stop and look around at you, and particularly
yeah.
they seem fairly engaged with yourself there. Yes. People nod to you as you walk by, kind of give you a bit of a look up and down. And when they see you, they do see your companions, and often they kind of whisper to each other, but nothing more kind of happens about that.
I'm getting a bit of a swagger on, you know.
As you walk, there are plenty of shops, there are plenty of things going on. You kind of walk forwards into this large open area. There are people kind of milling about in this area.
Lunch?
Yeah, there are people kind of eating. It's a little bit early perhaps, it's just kind of late morning at this point, but people are eating in various shops.
What do you want to go for brunch?
Yeah, you notice little cafes with kind of tables set up on the outside. It's fairly common. Probably wouldn't call it a cafe at this point. Little eateries anyway, where people are kind of sat eating with presumed friends, possibly enemies. We don't know.
Where's my money?
As before, Atlantrix just keeping an eye out. She needs to purchase some. She's looking to purchase some specific things.
Yeah.
One thing she's looking to purchase is 25 gold pieces worth of diamond dust, and one thing she's looking to purchase is 25 gold pieces worth of specially marked sticks, bones, or otherwise.
Yeah.
So they're very specific, unusual things. So she's keep. It's hard to describe exactly what shop she's looking for. Anywhere
Yes.
that would give the indication that any of those things exist.
That's nice.
Like a mass grave.
That much diamond dust and a cartload of bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's the coal situation all over again.
Should I see if I can find somebody who can sell you a cartload of bones?
They have to be special bones. They're not
Special
just-
bones.
very
What's
good.
maybe
Any
half a
bones.
cartload of special
Yeah.
bones?
The butchers.
Where is my money on this thing? I'm sure I had some cash on me before.
Where's my cash gone?
Are there any particular smells, like food smells, like an eatery that's like very specifically different than what Felix is used to?
Yeah, go ahead. You can roll with advantage, being a dog.
I figure follow his nose. What's it going to be?
It'd be an investigation, presumably.
Cool. So he rolled 17.
17. Yes, there is
there it is.
definitely a
Currency.
specific form of cooking around here that would be
Yeah.
different from used to in Aqua. There are obviously, you can smell frying oil, some kind of perhaps meat or poultry. There's obviously fair use of spice, which isn't common in Aqua. But yeah, that is what you're smelling, kind of fried
Cool.
meat and vegetables and spices.
So Felix is going to wander towards where the cooking is.
I'm going to sort of
Oh.
meander that way as well. See if I can
Yeah.
find a pasty or something just to munch on while we're on there.
Absolutely, yeah, you can smell
Right
these things
through.
as you're going through.
Yeah.
You find yourself in a fairly as you're walking into this seeming kind of market square, on the left hand side there's kind of open front buildings that have cooking and various things going on. They've got kind of iron hewn tables and people are sat down. They're drinking some kind of hot beverage, but you're not entirely sure what it is. But yeah, there's this cooking meat in kind of open kind of skillets that people are serving out of these hatches out of these buildings. And there's little signs up, they're all written in Elvish, they kind of have different.
Cool. He's going to go to the first hatch he can see.
Oh, Felix, I'll buy you brunch.
Thank you very much. This is my style of adventuring.
Yeah, there's a half elf there. He's kind of got a apron on that's kind of white in the front, and he's frying something in this. He looks up. And
Felix
says,
is all the way down here.
yeah, he's kind of
So-
looking around.
yeah.
Really.
He'll be like, what's in your pan, friend?
Wow, you're an interesting. Wow.
Yes.
I'll sort of sidle up behind him.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Right.
What's good?
Well, it's all good. I'm cooking it. What would you like?
What do you fancy, Felix?
Anything sausage based is entirely acceptable.
Wow. Wow. What is?
He's
Wow.
kind of a halfling.
Yeah, I'm Felix by Night, the Aquafurnace. Can I?
You're from Aqua.
Yes, I am.
He kind of momentarily forgets he's cooking and goes back to kind of cooking all these.
It's all good.
steaks. And sausages. You want sausages? You
Yes,
say?
many.
There's something I can make you. I'm sure. If you just take a seat, I'll get somebody to bring it over to you.
Hey, when you're in town, anything big going on? Any festivals? Any something worth attending?
It's a good question. He's kind of busy cooking, and you notice an attendant kind of comes over to him. He's very well dressed. There's obviously a quite fine establishment, and he starts picking up what looks like fried sausage and some kind of rice that you're unaware of. That's kind of a dirty brown colour, kind of piling it up on a plate. It's a pretty big pile for this time in the morning, and he's making kind of these two piles. So it's, well, yeah, all kinds of things going on really. We kind of expect the Duke to come down fairly regularly, but we haven't seen him in a couple of days. Yeah, and then of course there's the street preacher that comes out. That's it's been something that's been pretty exciting over the last couple of days. But,
Literally, or is that like a band?
sorry, a band? I'm not sure.
You know, like a music, a bards, musicians?
No, it's somebody coming out who came down from the Gnomish lands.
They're particularly manic.
Yeah, shroving all over the place. Yeah, but other than that, it's it's been different. It's a shame you guys didn't come down at a regular normal golden spell. It would have been a little bit nicer. Normally the Duke comes to visit and everyone settles down a little bit and we can all rest a little easier.
Thank you. You have been very informative.
That's fine. Please take a seat.
Yes. Do they have like spoons with the table numbers on, or like how does that work?
It's hard to tell. Yeah, you're obviously new here. It's, whenever you go to a new city,
Yeah. No, whenever I go to a new restaurant, I really struggle with the
do
system.
you pay the bar?
Are you in character or out of character?
Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
Please take a seat anyway.
Okay, yeah, it's like table service.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I really do.
And something to drink as well, whatever you recommend.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, like a red wine or white wine.
Oh, you want alcohol?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. We can do that.
Is it morning?
Something to cleanse.
Yes, late morning. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's always evening time somewhere.
Yes.
As this is happening, you guys sit down here. Is anyone else joining them? You kind of sitting down as a two at the moment?
Yeah, Lantrix has sort of slightly foolishly started looking around,
Yeah.
just for one moment, taken her eye off them all.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
she's searching for this shop.
Search for the shop. That's
Yeah.
fine.
It's hard to stay attentive, 24/7.
What about yourself, Caston? Whereabouts are you?
I'm probably having a quick scour around
Yeah.
to just. Can I see any rackets? Is there a local
Gotta play
pickpocket
tennis?
gang or something?
I like that.
Is there something
You
going
kind of
on
your
here?
keys, or you kind of like
Yeah,
standing
yeah.
around
Is there a
in
dice
jackets,
game?
Yeah.
Flicking a
Who are the
dime.
bad? Who are the baddies? Yeah.
If you roll me an investigation check, you absolutely can do that.
15.
15, it's a good roll. As you walk into a city, and cities are fairly new to you, it's fairly overwhelming, there's a lot going on, but you picked up a few tricks of the trade over the years. There are obviously a few people here and there that are keeping a close eye on others. You would probably guess, 15 is a pretty good roll, you'd probably guess that crime is relatively low here. The extensive use of the gallows, and this being a fairly well-built area, probably is a good reason for that. And particularly people being checked on entrance and exit. You notice specifically this is a selective community. That being said, there are a couple of people here now who are keeping a watch on others as well. Not quite so finely dressed as everybody else. Normally they look elven, but it's hard to tell. But yeah, there are a couple of people here and there, but there's no kind of
you wouldn't guess there was kind of a thieves guild or anything operating here.
Cool. Now we go with some food then.
Nice. Lantrix, you're walking about. There are plenty of shops. They're everywhere. Finding the one you're looking for without making a scene is quite difficult.
Bones?
Yeah.
Anyone got bones?
But you
Special bones.
you walk by a couple of shop windows, and these windows they're very nice. They're kind of diamond shaped glass, kind of across them. Obviously, they limit the amount of glass panes being used, so they kind of distort things on the inside ever so slightly. But you can see through them, and they're shops that sell strange-looking antiques and kind of various objects. And you happen upon a shop that's called the Old Stump. And as you look through the window, you just seems a little bit different to some of the others, and it kind of piques your interest. So you if you so wish, you
She will go in.
want to make a note.
And she'll be attentive to if anyone particularly is watching her move as she goes in, because she's aware. She's just intelligent. Just making sure that she knows what these places are like.
Absolutely. As you walk in, you're hit by a very intense perfumey smell. You can't quite sure make out what it is, but there's some kind of heavy perfume in there.
Smells of Shroves.
Smells of Shroves. It's sweet. It's got hints of rose in there, hints of perhaps bergamot. It's kind of quite intense. You're greeted by an elderly human, actually. Female elderly human who's got some kind of purple robe on that looks like it's been worn in very heavily. And as you walk in, they kind of glance over to you. Oh, welcome! Come on in.
Hello.
Can I interest you in? Well,
Perhaps. I'm an augur.
There's a particularly
welcome.
large parrot by the door.
Have you met us before?
Augur. Marvelous.
An augur of now.
Oh, Nell. Yes, Nell. I seem to remember. No, I've no idea.
She's going to spend, as she would with many people that she finds interesting, she is going to spend at least 10 minutes giving the Augur of Now speech that she gives to everybody, and the warnings, and the chimes, and what we're looking out for. For 10 minutes.
As this is happening, this woman kind of puts that arm behind her and draws a porcelain object without even looking at it. Brings it across her person and pours something into a cup next to her, and then puts that somewhere else, just on a book, kind of somewhere over there. And it doesn't take eye contact the whole time, and then sips slightly from this cup, puts it back down, and takes something out of a little bowl, and puts it in there and spins it around. And then she's doing all this while staring at you. And occasionally breaks this by going, yes.
So you see, we're looking for the unusual. We're looking for the strange.
Strange.
Do you have any?
Think strange?
There's a dog over at that table over there, sitting talking to a bloke.
There's a dog eating a sausage over there.
Yes. What are the stranger items that you possess? We're searching for these types of things. You see.
Right. You just arrived today, did you?
Yes.
Okay. You make a persuasion check for me.
17.
17. How interesting. Very good. Would you care to join me? There's some. I'm just boiling a kettle down the back. You come with me.
Sure.
You follow her through an array of kind of like books, tattered robes, various kind of wardrobes that are half open that seem to be filled with glass objects that are kind of staring out from you, various colours. And you go down through what looks like an archway, but as you closely inspect it, you realise it's just books stacked on top of each other until they go into an archway shape that seem to only just be hanging there by the grace of some higher power. And you kind of step through. And she goes through a little shift kind of at the back. and then knocks on a piece of wood on the it seems like the back wall, and a little hinge pops up, and she opens it, and there's another room back there that actually is very well ordered, and it's filled with little pigeonholes filled with very specific objects, kind of either kind of glass orbs or kind of little collections of stones, things like that. And she just said, "Oh, come in."
So she will.
As you come in, she quickly looks around outside and slams that door shut and drops the handle down. Says, "Right, what are you actually here for?"
Do you have any augurs? Oh, the spell is called augury, isn't it? Yeah, very topical. Do you have any augury scrying sticks?
Yes. Yeah, of course. Well, what do you need? And she turns around and looks into a pigeonhole. She seems all of a sudden very aware of what's going on around her, which she didn't previously. Yes, of course. What kind do you like? We've got sticks, bones, runes. I've got a lovely set of obsidian that you will absolutely love. She goes into one of these pigeonholes, she shifts through a series of kind of jute bags and she pulls one out and says, "Look at the craftsmanship here," and she starts pulling them out. You can see the obsidians carved, they're all exactly the same size. I've heard that one of the first elves carved these. They're absolutely marvellous. And for 50 gold pieces they will be yours.
50 gold.
50 gold, yes. Just they'll be yours. I've heard they work better than lots of other scrying sticks. You're definitely going to find exactly the thing you're looking for.
She's going to turn just slightly away, just for a moment, and she's going to, as surreptitiously as possible, cast message to Gaston, which I know he likes.
You guys are currently eating this lovely savoury rice and this spicy sausage on the table. Kind of huge sausages that are probably 3 inches thick and about 7 inches long.
And kind of get to know each other because they don't know each other that well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man, I really miss the city. Do you miss the city?
I miss the city. Yeah.
I miss being served food, with drinks.
Yeah, it's nice to have everything to hand, isn't
There's
it?
so many suckers in the city.
What?
Well, while we're sitting here, though, it's not entirely passive. We're
For Felix is. It's
well,
just like, he's being metropolitan. He's just taking it in. You've got the people walking by and looking at all their clothes. Do you think there's an arena in this town? Do you reckon I could take part in the arena in this town? I think this is a great place.
You hear a little high-pitched voice, obviously from an elven child walking by. "Daddy, is that a dog?" "Don't look at it." Just walk on.
As the child walks past, I just...
And he's
smiling, brimming as he walks by.
He's stood on his chair because it's not big enough. So he's stood and hands on the table eating his sausages.
Caston will growl at him like a dog.
Yeah. A message occurs to you, Gaston, as you're sat with your friends.
And he's going to get angry at this because I've had this before.
Once, yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't too pleased with it. Please come to... Where are we? What's the name of the place?
The old stump.
Please come to the old stump.
Old
Stump. What?
Old stump.
Oh,
stump. Old stump. Old stump.
He's going to join in because he's liking this.
Old stump.
what?
And he's forgotten. What? Oh, no. Everyone.
Hang on a minute. Because I've had brain messages from Atlantrix, haven't I?
Yes, possibly.
So I kind of twig what's going on.
Yeah.
Is there a problem?
Has he been
I'm
shrunk?
getting a Lantrix. Right
Oh,
here.
good. I knew it was too good to last.
Right.
Where are we going?
Can you tell her to talk to you next time?
Yeah, okay.
We're going to the old stump.
Old
Some
stump.
tree somewhere.
As
Anyone
you
see
do
an
so,
old stump?
Oh,
an
stop.
attendant comes over to you. He's wearing kind of a black silk affair with some kind of cravat going on, and puts 3 glasses down the table. Tall glasses filled with some kind of violet liquid. Thoughts? And then walks away.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry, mate.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We're going to have to go.
Totally betray him.
We're going to have to go. Can I get our bill, please?
Go now.
Yeah, sorry.
Must be
yeah,
very busy.
yeah, something's come up.
We'll deal with these, so this is fine.
It's gone.
Yeah, we're just as we're talking, just neck the drinks.
What's it taste like?
It's like a very sweet wine. It's quite strong. You kind of feel it in your cheeks.
Oh,
and
goodness.
It's obviously for sipping, and
Yeah.
probably not mid-morning tanking
Yeah.
down in one day.
Oh, that's so. That's
Wow, she didn't sound panicked.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you think what? Maybe one
Oh,
more.
it's just, yeah.
No, I think we should.
One more, my lords.
Yeah, I think we should maybe one more.
Could you do a very quick one more,
Yeah.
and then get us the bill?
Certainly, sir.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you very much.
Very quickly runs off and manages to pick up a few glasses as he goes, and comes back with another round of these three tall red glasses of this
I
wine.
really miss the city. It really is a pity. I'm in the countryside.
He puts them one in front of you.
Thank you very much. And what do we owe you?
Oh, well, that'd be a gold piece for the table, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, hand him over a gold piece.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Sorry,
And,
sorry to.
tip.
Oh yes, and
Leave
I've
it on
only-
the table. Sorry, I didn't mean
I've only got
leave
gold
it, leave it
pieces.
on the table. that's all.
I'll leave another gold piece on the table.
You weren't from around here. I was just making sure you were aware of the custom.
Cass is laughing, and he's going, city sucker.
I'll leave another gold
No,
piece.
but it's weird because there's no signs. You never know if you have to leave it, or is the tip included?
Well, that's what I thought I would tell
I
you.
know, well, it's difficult. Yeah, there should be a sign.
You're very handsome, though.
Thank you very
Haven't
much.
seen.
Yeah,
Tip him.
this is this is a great wine, by the way, as well. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All down his beard and down his front, and then down his tan.
So there's somebody else
Like-
clicking at another
Yeah.
table, going like this. I'm sorry, my lords, I must leave. I hope you join us again.
Thank you very much. I've never been
Thank you.
able to do that myself.
And he disappears.
I'll grab the remains of my sausage, neck my drink.
Nice.
You are even for the hotel welshing you gave us.
What?
Welshing on the bill in the hotel room.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, Felix is going to grab a sausage, put it in one of the big pockets in his canvas. Nice click, and then off we go. Let's go! And the sword has been on the table the whole time, hanging, a good couple of feet over one side, couple of feet over the other.
With a glass on his That probably would draw a lot of eyesight. Not so many people aren't.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Right. So what we're looking for is a stump,
An
not a
old
tree.
stump. Old stump.
Old
His
stump
memory's
tree.
really bad, but he's going to
So
think it was
looking
the old
around,
stump.
can I see a tree?
We probably should ask.
Broken tree? No. Couple of drinks in at this point as well.
Maybe it's someone with one arm?
Old Stumpy.
An old man with one arm.
Old man with one arm. No, that doesn't sound right.
Should we ask one of your people? Or did you? I'll do it. So the like polite person that was clicking their fingers before he's just gonna go up to them like.
Oh, that
look up.
tape go up to that table.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
you have somebody who's dressed in a row, a couple of people. So there's three elves sat around a table.
There's a little bit Paddington Bear to this.
Yeah. One's in a
Just Paddington Bear with a 6-foot
one's
sword.
in a beige robe. There's another one who's in a purple robe.
Yeah.
There's another one's in some kind of like jacket and trouser affair who's doing the clicking.
Cool. He's gonna go to jacket and trousers.
Yeah.
Hello, jacket and trousers.
Oh no.
Well, Mark,
Do you know where the old stump is?
you're looking for the old stump now.
Yes, sir.
And what in the grace of the king are you?
I'm Felix Fernite of the Equifurnites. Thank you. Nice to meet you. And what the hell are you?
Oh lordy.
Wow. You're mighty rude for such a small person, aren't you?
I meant it in a charismatic way. We're trying to be friends.
Excuse my friend here. He's not.
Roll initiative.
He's not familiar with the city. We're just passing through. We're looking for something called the Old Stump.
The
Would
old
you
stump.
happen
Or
to know?
someone.
Or someone?
Old stump.
Old
Yeah,
Stumpy?
it's a shop, spells. Bric-a-brac, little gifts, that kind of thing.
Shop. Oh,
Yeah, you know,
well.
for tourists.
Ideal. Where would that be?
Just on the corner right there.
On the corner over there. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Just before
Grab Felix
Just
by
before I
grab
go-
Felix by the back of his cloak and drag him backwards
Are you going
away.
to resist?
Is there a fighting arena here?
I'm afraid not, but I'd love to see it.
Thank you.
He goes back to talking to his friends, and they obviously have a heightened mood as
Yeah.
you've gone. They've been drinking in the mid-morning. So
So
you find the old stump.
Wait, you didn't tip him.
Just Stump. Stump.
That is going to be Elantris' new nickname. Old Stumpy.
Alright, old Stump.
You head on in, presumably.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an old wood-fronted building. There's this diamond-shaped windows that you see. There's things to the windows. You go into the door. There's a door.
Before they come right
Apparently
through, because presumably there's a little bit of time.
Yeah.
There's some
beforehand.
time has
Some
passed.
time has passed. Yeah.
Between your message and us arriving,
Yeah.
there's probably a good 10-15 minutes of mayhem nearly happened.
Tuned by the first elves. They're marvellous. Very rare.
Listen, I've got some friends coming through in a moment.
What? Some friends.
Just augurs, like me.
Right.
Now, one of them is a very short, angry friend. I'll be honest with you.
Right.
Pleasant enough in the right conditions.
Which one are you referring to?
Pleasant enough in the right conditions. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not completely convinced he's going to take fondness to 50 gold pieces for that.
Right.
You see,
But they're very fine.
I appreciate the craftsmanship completely, but you see, he holds the coin, and unless we can get a price that is suitable for him,
Holds the coin for you, my lady.
Yes, he is my traveller, my caddy.
I see. How strange. Interesting.
Yes. I can't remember which job we've said. Everyone's got to which guard. Anyway, I'm looking for diamond dust as well.
Diamond dust, of course, yes. Yeah, very rare we get such requests. And she puts the stones very carefully down on a little side table. It's got a kind of velvet top to it. And looks around and kind of picks
there
up
a-
a bag or other
Is
time.
there a bell above the shop door?
There is, yes. Yeah.
Tings!
That's still ages till we turn.
It's still got ages. She picks a little bag up. How much would you like?
I require around about 25 gold pieces
25 gold pieces
worth. Yes.
Well, you might not even get that in the shop.
I was just saying, by the
It's a very
standards of
small
it here.
quantity. We can. Well, I can see what I can do. I'll see what I can do
Thank you.
for an auger of Nell. You say.
Correct. Yes.
Interesting. Pulls a little velvet bag on top.
Now listen, I will take both of those from you, and I imagine
Yes.
that
75 gold pieces.
I would prefer to spend 50.
50. Right. Well, 60 would probably be an appropriate price.
Again,
I wouldn't
my
give 50 to a friend, you see. And we've only just met. Got to keep this place secret. It's not a cheap operation.
no, quite right. And you see, my very little, quite angry friend. I say angry. He's lovely, until the moment that you see he gets a price that he's not happy with.
At that point, I think we reached the shop.
Yeah.
Ting!
Elantris!
They mustn't. The door.
I think he'd be quite keen on 50 gold pieces.
50 gold pieces. Can you roll an intimidation check with advantage, please?
Sure. 13.
13. I'm sure 50 gold pieces would be good, but you must be careful, my lady. News and information. People ask for that kind of thing for people who buy these sort of things, you know? If you're going to be a shrewd business person, sometimes it is good to make sure the people who sell you your wares are happy. You understand me? But not between us, you see. I have as much to lose as you do, you see.
Looks up
Okay,
at the
she
bell-
just turns
looks
away
up
for a
at
second.
The bell and opens and closes the door. So ting again.
I'm coming! One moment!
She's just turning away and acting as if she's sort of looking through her things. She's really just biding time.
This is one of them He's got books. Is there books in there as well?
Yeah, there's
Do you reckon
loads.
they
all
sell
over
those,
the place.
those choose your own adventure books, the little ones with the numbers in?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Could be.
Yeah, can we have a look around?
Yeah, have a look around. Feel free.
No, can you have a look around? I'm very small.
I'm already having a look around. I'm looking to see where the shop owner is and where she might have
You
gone.
heard a voice coming from the back. There's a big pile of books in this archway and kind of cupboards that are slightly
I'll
open with bits of glass. and
Head
strange
towards
objects.
the where I heard the voices coming from.
Coming! One moment! I should probably leave this area and head back into the main room. I don't really want everybody to see you back here, if you wouldn't mind.
That's fine.
As Felix spins around, he's knocking stuff over with his sword. He's got original.
There's books falling
Yeah.
over. It's chaos
Yeah.
in here, right? There's things piled all over the place. And there's the parrot by the door that's giving me the eye.
Sorry, I had to just throw that in. For some reason in my head, there was a
There
parrot.
was a parrot.
Yeah. Dorothy.
She's
now!
With the right place.
And she's going to kind of usher you out of this back room if you're okay with that, Alantrace. Or are you quite happy to sit and... You're still looking for other things?
yeah, she is going to turn, still turned away. She's going to raise her shield, and she is going to cast a second level spell. I don't think we want this woman turning against us this early on. And she's going to cast Destroy Shop Owner.
Turn shop owner into parrot.
Yeah. Now she is going to cast Suggestion, second level.
Nice.
She
You
puts the
suggest
shield,
anything, Jack.
puts the shield up, and just when she looks up, does she see a snake's tongue, bit of honeycomb, or drop of sweet oil anywhere?
Yeah, there'll be plenty
Yeah.
of that.
She just for flavour, she's going to touch that and pick it up and actually expend the material component.
Nice. Yeah, you go ahead.
Now,
Very subtly.
Yeah.
Very subtly. But she doesn't need it. She could do it without. And she is going to say that she's going to ask. Well, she needs to make a wisdom save first. And she's going to suggest that keep our interaction nothing more than a memory.
while all this is going on, I'm in the corridor outside,
Yeah.
looking for. I can tell where these voices are coming from. Looking for some sort of entranceway. To use Iroquois parlance, I'm searching for traps, secret doorways.
No worries, you roll an investigation check.
Wisdom save for you as well.
Yeah, she looks at you and kind of momentarily kind of just gazes off into the distance. And then she just looks at you again and kind of returns with, okay.
So it's a concentration spell for 8 hours, so unless my concentration breaks for that period, if she's under the effects.
You need a concentration T-Rex.
It's up there.
Supplied by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
The heavy cast iron concentration T-Rex to remind you that you're concentrating.
There are T-Rex in the monster manual, so it's...
They are, yeah, it's canon.
What?
Yeah. Now that you
Dusty
mention
feet.
very dusty T-Rex feet.
And then she'll just walk back out into the shop. with the
Cool.
others.
She walked back out into the shop directly
Into
into
Phineas.
a crossbow being
Oh, right.
at eye level. You alright?
Yes.
You see an old woman come out the
Click.
back.
On bell.
Wonderful to meet you all. She just shuts the door. She's almost trying to hide. She's got a two bags in her hand. She's trying to hide this door that you've obviously seen and try and close it behind her.
Thyneus, please would you give this lady 50 gold pieces? I will repay more than that.
A. Stay out of my head.
Sorry, you're not Thyneus.
B.
No, I am the name.
Get it right.
That's Caston.
Caston,
No, I'm not
apologies.
Caston.
Please may we give this lady 50 gold pieces.
What's she done?
I'm buying something for
That's
her.
like 50 double rounds of wine in this place.
I will pay you 60
Oh, you want
when
wine?
we receive
I
it.
mean, we'll probably find some if you wanted to buy some of that as well. Somewhere around here.
I'll flip it over, and I'll flip a silver. A tip.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much. And these are yours,
Sir,
sir. Ma- lady.
that's worse than what I said.
It's very difficult for me to tell elves apart. I apologise.
Yeah, she's going to take the.
It's a little velvet bag filled with diamond dust and a bag of very, very ornate, very fine runes made out of obsidian.
Very good. I can cast all my spells.
Diamond dust and rune bones.
Excuse me.
It's a great concept. Alex.
Excuse me down here.
Hello.
Excuse me.
Oh, hello. Don't mind. I'm sure they're friendly.
do you
Have you marked that off, Carl?
do you have any
Yes.
books about
What
Denwick
was
the
that?
Brave?
15 a silver.
50
Demric
gold,
the
yeah.
Brave.
Yes.
Yes, I have a few books on Demric the Brave.
Can I have a look, see, please?
Of course. Where did I? She looks around, then finds this porcelain object, then pours a cup of something, then puts it back somewhere else, and starts drinking it. And she looks into a random direction.
Oh.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Oh.
Yes.
Hello. Do you have any books?
You asked me for something, didn't you?
Denwick the Brave.
Demric the Brave. Yes. And what are they?
Any books?
Books.
Hero.
Demric the Brave.
Demric the
yes.
Brave. Yes.
Yes, I'm sure I She starts going underneath a pile of papers next to her for a little while. Not sure. Maybe somewhere around here. Well, maybe come back in a bit. I'll see if I can find something. Who are you?
I am Felix Fernite
Felix.
of the Aqua Furnace Denwick the Brave. Books, please.
Yes.
Do you have any books on heroes in general?
Is
Well,
this,
take a
is
look.
this your
Oh,
doing?
this is my sort
Is
of
this your
place.
doing? Or is she
Yeah.
always like this?
What's wrong with
No,
this
she's-
lady?
She's fine.
Oh.
She's a friend of mine, isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yes.
Did you do the brain speech with her?
No, she sold me these things. Nothing more.
It's very
Right.
nice to have met you all.
I think we should.
I wanted to get my book.
Very good.
I'll have a quick look round the shelves, see if I can find any books on legendary heroes.
You're bound to find some of these collections of books here. They're kind of the equine equivalent to pulp books, really. There's nothing kind of any particular value.
That's
Plenty
what
of
Felix.
stuff.
Specifically Denwick the Brave.
Denwick the Brave, Denwick the Brave, Volume 1. I'll have a look.
Somewhere, perhaps.
I'll have a look.
Yeah, you'll be able to find books on Demric the Brave if that's what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
Felix.
Lovely. Thank you very much. What am I looking at?
It's kind of a
Sorry, I'll ask the
Cloth.
correct question. What does it smell like?
musty.
Yeah.
It's probably the best thing.
Like an
this
old
book. It's a good
room
one.
smells musty.
It's a really good one.
It's really a slight hint of like mold. You'd be worried to put it with the rest of your books.
Yeah.
It
Denwick
is-
the Brave game book. Someone's already filled in the character on this one. Yeah. No, I'll have it. It's fine. It's dog-eared at the edges. You know, you jokes. Price.
Oh, a couple piece.
Cool. He'll pay you.
Wonderful. Thank you for coming, everybody. Very nice to have
I'm going
met
to put a
you.
ration down.
Yeah. Oh, is that for me?
That's for you.
Oh, good.
For the book.
For the book.
It's
Right.
like a bit of a ration. It's not even a
Yes.
full ration.
Bit of
What
sausage.
comes in a ration?
Could be a bit of sausage from the mill.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit of that rice from earlier.
Yeah.
And the bush drove.
The parrot goes wild. Ah! Oh, you silly old thing. Yes, well, have a wonderful day, and do come back if you need anything
Thank
from
you.
me. Yes.
Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it.
Ding.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then we should probably have a short break. About that time. Wouldn't we like a short break?
Why not?
Shrove break.
A Shrove break. We should Shrove ourselves.
Shrove.
Can't believe we haven't got ourselves into a Shrove situation yet.
Yeah, not yet.
I know.
Not
I
yet.
know.
Dry food suitable for extended travel, including jerky, dried fruit, hardtack, and nuts.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Delicious.
Hardtack and nuts.
Absolutely delicious. Hardtack and nuts, my favourite breakfast.
Which coincidentally was the name of the cafe you've just been.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Which
Welcome
one's
to
nuts?
Hardtack and nuts. Oh dear. We'll
Cheers.
see you all in roughly 7.5 of your Earth minutes.
Some of them.
stay as it now. I'm not going to say that live. I'm not going to say that live. That's in the outtakes.
He was
The
great in
outtakes.
Excalibur.
You walk out of this door.
I haven't seen that. Is that the new one?
Spice!
No, the David Lynch one.
Oh god.
You walk out, and as you've been in this shop a relative amount of time, it's coming up towards noon, and you notice the people are starting to congregate in this kind of like a market square, lacking a market. For whatever reason, there's some people market on this day. That's fairly common in the city. They come at different days, but there's obviously people gathering for something is happening. Can you roll some kind of investigation check for me? God, you were ready for that, weren't you? Primed and ready.
12.
12.
I've got an 11.
What does my nose tell me?
So you're smelling. Okay.
I'm looking over his
Looking
head.
around. You smell people, gatherings of people.
Do I smell religion?
You smell religion. You smell some kind of religious fervour,
Yeah.
whatever that smells like.
Smells like
Incense.
religion on the wind.
Incense and sweat.
Yeah. You can't smell anything in particular other than a collection of people and groups of people. You can see groups of people gathering around kind of an epicenter.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Thanaeus, you're kind of used to looking around the city and making sure who's watching what. You, in particular, spy these mezzanines and have a look around these mezzanines. People are gathering on them, kind of looking over. You would guess from the kind of people up there, they either live there and that's their home, in which case they have a very fine home that has a look over this kind of central square, probably some of the finest kind of house around. Or they're renting areas, so some people look like they might not necessarily be from here, but they are all elves of particular high standing. Something catches your eye. On the far side from you, so across, if you look directly across in this group of people, and you look directly across the mezzanine, you kind of strain your eyesight ever so slightly, but you see a collection of elves dressed in white robes. The thing that puts it off is a small glint of a great sword mounted on one of their shoulders.
This is the crowd from the other night, is it?
You would guess from the distance.
And it's just the people with the white robes, and then apart from that, it's just general peons,
They're up on
rich
a
peons.
yeah, they're up on a mezzanine, so they're actually up in kind of one of these accommodation kind of areas, and they're looking down on this group of people. But
Are they speaking?
they're not speaking;
Right.
they're looking down. The collection of people are actually meeting in the centre, so they're actually watching, just like everybody else is.
From this distance, can I tell if they have clocked us in the same way what we clocked them?
It's hard to tell. Don't know. Doesn't look like it. But it's hard to tell. But they're gathering around this epicenter, and everyone seems to be watching what's going on. And you can hear a voice above all other voices, but it's kind of muffled from this distance.
If this was the old party, someone would have cast fireball.
Well,
Now that you mention it, you do notice here and there with those kind of perception checks, there are the odd guard now starting to kind of appear.
I know I didn't
They're
go for
not
that.
doing anything; they're just kind of loitering around and just watching over what's happening.
Firstly, this is exactly the kind of place that we shouldn't be, and secondly, it's exactly the kind of place we are obliged to go to. So, I say we get stuck in and see what happens.
I'm just going to reach down to the ground and pick up a handful of stones, three stones of about yay big.
That's fine, dirty.
Just,
You can do that. There'll be a loose
Yeah,
stone here and there.
just-
They're all kind of cobblestones.
playing with them in my hand, you know. Just
People are gathering. You start even now. This crowd's getting bigger and bigger. It's probably 50 odd people now as this crowd's kind of gathering, and they're kind of whispering to each other. And you do hear this voice above the rest of them.
Was this the sort of trouble we were supposed to be avoiding? Do you think?
The dude said something about a preacher.
I'm wondering whether
How likely is it we're going to end up in that castle?
Well, I think it's quite possible we're going to end up in that castle, but it depends on whether we're going to end up in there under our own volition or in chains.
We need to find these people. Can we make out?
I think we might have found one.
Is there like a? Is there a focal point of this crowd? Is there a group of people that people are gathered around?
Hard to tell because they all seem to be on the same level. There's obviously something at the epicenter, so it would be a fair assumption.
We need to sort of be
I
able to
think
see
we're in
what's.
there.
I think we need to see what's going on in there without getting too close.
Yeah, Felix is going to go.
Yeah.
Who's going to walk up?
Yeah, but he's small. He's just
Through
he's
the
just a
legs.
great sword. He's going to be like, come forward, look out, come forward. Someone's like going to get the flat side of a sword in the face, like.
Are you
Come on
deliberately being obtrusive, or are you, like how are you?
No, he's not trying to like make a big deal out of it. It's just that's just how
Just
he
like
is.
jostling in the crowd. A lot of people are jostling each other, not deliberately, but just like when you stood around, people are looking for a good place to stand and they're kind of arcing their necks and looking around. So you could probably slip through relatively nice. Maybe the occasional person who might look down like. But,
I'm keeping an
there's
eye
also
on the
children
progress.
around, right? So there's so it's not unusual to have people. Damn, your child is ugly.
I'm keeping an eye on the progress of the sword as it goes
Are you
through.
deliberately keeping together, or are you kind of letting?
No, let
Felix.
Felix.
Short ones.
Yeah, let Felix go
The
up
short
ahead,
ones.
but I was definitely keeping an eye on where he's. I can see the swords cutting through the crowd like a
We're in
Shark's
Assassin's Creed
fin.
blending mode.
yeah.
No, it's not that good. Oh, blending mode in that where you're like, there's no way I'm blended in, but mechanically, you are, yeah.
Technically.
Yeah, all you do is you just turn around and walk at the back of a crowd, and it's like, oh, where's he gone?
Gone. Absolutely
Come on.
What's Caston up to at the moment?
I don't know. Are we trying to get in here?
No.
I think we're trying to see who's at the centre of that. And why they're at the centre of that.
Well, I can see who's at the centre of that and he'll barge through as
I
well.
wish I hadn't said that.
Absolutely.
Trying to keep a low profile here.
Yeah, sure hand back.
But he'll use his halfling nimbleness and he'll move through the space of any creature that is the largest size of you.
Nice.
I assume that means you can just be like,
Yeah, absolutely. You can pretty much just scout on through. Again, people are jostling each other and there's a lot of commotion, so I imagine a lot of people don't take a lot of notice. You don't see other halflings, but people are kind of looking at something else. So
Definitely going to hang back and watch the crowd. And try and keep as much of an eye on these two.
you're getting close enough to hear what's going on. It's fairly muffled because you're in open air. So you get a little bit closer, but you kind of hang around with kind of the other people that are keeping a distance, if that makes sense.
Keeping a distance without looking like I'm keeping a distance.
Yeah,
You
that
know.
kind of thing.
Fly casual.
So as you get a little bit closer, then let me get to the right page. You get a little bit closer and you see raised just slightly above everyone else. They're kind of stood on some kind of box or something in the centre of this, like a wooden box in the centre of this town, centre of this square. There is an individual. You guys, you can see him fairly well. They look sort of elven. They have fairly simple brown clothes in comparison to the people around them. They're very ornately dressed. They have braided black hair that is very neat, and for all intents and purposes, seem very well kept as an individual. And they're stood in this box, and they're calling out to the crowd, basically. And you pick it up kind of halfway through, but he's obviously repeating certain things so that as new people join, they're kind of hearing the full story. And it goes a little bit something like, I've been to the Gnomish lands and I've seen their plight. I've seen the illness that milds among them, and even now we have a deserved damnation. As we mingle with these types, as we mingle with these races, as we open our borders further, we only further spread this contagion among our lands. There's people like in the crowd are nodding their head, and some people kind of say, okay, and other people are like just listening in intently. We must take active steps to make sure that we purify ourselves and purify those around us. It is only a matter of time until this illness comes here, and then we cannot be spared.
I think it's like a Brita water advert or something. I don't know.
What was the race? I can't see. I'm not there.
Yeah, Felix is probably going
You
to
can
ask
hear this
one of the
voice.
kids
Yeah.
because they're probably at the front. All,
Yeah, they're
all small.
kind of squatted down.
How long has this guy been here?
Oh, yeah, Gendar. He's been here about a 10 day.
Yeah,
You're very hairy.
I really am. I'm a dog. He's
You're
gonna
a
like
dog.
raise his little hood and he's gonna be like, "Yo,
Dog. This person's a dog.
yeah, it's pretty cool."
There's a little bit of commotion. It's the
Yeah.
little kids are kind of, that's a dog.
Yeah.
Some of the adults are kind of looking down. You know, what's going on?
Beating the kids.
Yeah. There's busier stuff for the adults going on. So every day he comes out here. And
Every day he comes out and says just like that. People have started really listening to him.
Where does he stay?
Oh, he stays in one of the inns nearby. Don't really know.
Thank you.
You're a dog.
I'm a dog.
That's a dog.
I'm genuinely a dog.
He keeps repeating himself. Ours is a deserved damnation unless we make active steps to purify who we are and align ourselves as a race. We are going to find it incredibly hard to avoid this illness that plagues our lands.
Stay in school.
You, sir, you have a family, don't you? Don't you want to protect that family from this ravaging illness that spreads across the gnomish lands as we speak? Who knows, even our very own Renthar, locked with his own walls, could be becoming to it right now. People are kind of looking around at that, and they're kind of expecting God to step in at this point and be like, what's going on? But it just keeps going.
And Lentrix can hear it at least.
Yeah.
He's going to be writing down what he says. Nothing
This-
more.
Specifically for you, he's obviously referencing the gnomish lands. You've seen things like this before. The fact that you have recently seen something that kind of attests to it is a little bit more concerning. Radicals, particularly purist radicals, aren't unusual in Elven cities. It's quite usual for groups, gangs, even cults to start up around it. It's almost a nasty byproduct of some laws to create radicals. So this isn't unusual. But again, you can't see the individual themselves.
She was one of these box speakers at one point.
Yeah, there you go. So it's
They thought I was mad.
you probably know it fairly well. Of course,
Cassian's
I do
trying
not
to say in
seek
his brain, you are desperately.
I do not seek any harm to any other race, but we need to understand that the more that we mingle, the more that we allow ourselves to be, be corrupted by them, we will succumb to similar illnesses and similar problems, just like they have. The elven race can stretch for thousands of years without impurities.
Seen his type before.
It's fairly common knowledge that elves very rarely succumb to illness and have very long lives. It's also fairly common knowledge that elves get a little bit nervous around illness and disease for that reason, even though often they don't seem affected by it.
How far away from me is he?
It's not a huge distance, and there's a big crowd of people, so you're probably only 40 feet away at this point, but you can hear his voice kind of ricochet. It's a little bit harder to make it out, but you
I
can.
could shoot him if you like.
Can you see him? Don't shoot him.
Standing on a box 40 feet away from me.
This isn't a grassy knoll. What can you see? What race he is?
Can I see what race he is?
If you really strain your neck and take a look, but you would, if you're doing this, you'd make yourself quite obvious.
Not without making myself quite obvious.
Okay. No, we'll take their word for it when they come back. Hopefully they can discern
Can
what
we
race
see
it
it?
is.
Yeah, we can see what
You
it
can
is.
see him clear as day.
Well, he's now right.
It's a little bit harder, so can you roll me a perhaps an insight check?
Do you want to go for it?
Wob, wob, wob. 17.
17. Unusually, you would think he's a half elf.
Gotta keep that race pure.
Yeah, and usually you'd think they're a half elf. I mean, you'd think there's a half elf. There's probably a lot of elves here that would be pretty clear on that.
Hey man, you know criminal gangs like anyone else. All these guards letting this guy say all this stuff, all the weird just decrees up on the balcony, just letting this happen in this city, which is incredibly well guarded. It feels a little bit like a setup.
It's being let happen.
Yeah, but don't you think the man up in the manor would have something to say about this? I'm not going yet, no.
This talking's going on. He does actually look behind him, and he looks up to this veranda with this. You can see now the kind of outline. You guys might not have seen him before, but you can see Indomitus up on this mezzanine, and this kind of elf in this, to refresh your memory, this elf in this white robe. This is incredibly bright, kind of blonde hair that looks almost feathered in the light. They almost seem to emit a sort of glow.
The actual elf who is the leader of this area of Rethari Primus. Sorry, who is
Who's
Indomitus?
the guy in the camp?
The guy in the camp that you mentioned.
Ah, yes, yeah.
Indomitus Galatius.
Yeah, yes, it's one of the 4.
That's right. He stood up in this mezzanine and he's just watching. He's got this look that's really hard to place. It's kind of a serene, kind of elven look that you don't really see on most elves these days, but he just has that look. He says, "Even my lords above us know that I am right. They have said nothing this 10 day that I have been here, only simply watched. You, sir, does this coarse speech?" And he's rising up to crescendo, and it seems that he's very much rising to the point where he's getting people to make some form of commitment, right? And actually, people in the crowd seem to be listening, and actually you hear kind of some voices of assent come up and say, "Here, I believe in you, I believe in you." And there's like certain groups that are starting to come out. At that point, some, particularly adults with children, start to leave and start to like move away, whereas others seem, to quite actively seem to come out and support anyway.
Felix will use the crowd of moving children as an opportunity to head to the back.
Okay.
Are you coming with?
I will stick in the crowd a bit.
As that happens, people are raising their hands and kind of agreeing with this. And again, Indomitus has just stood there, quite a distance away, probably 60 feet away, but watching over, hasn't moved an inch. Has this weird kind of eerie elven quality. He can't move a single muscle, kind of mindfully stood there as if he's kind of a statue. Really.
It all seems a little bit dodgy to me.
Again, people start peeling away, but there is a core group that seem to raise a little closer. For yourself, Caston, there's a group, particularly males, but a couple of females as well, mostly elves, a couple of half-elves, start kind of coming in a little closer.
Trying to judge the character of the people leaving versus the people staying.
Yeah, the people who are leaving are often families, kind of tradesmen, kind of people who aren't necessarily kind of vested in all their intrigue and everything else. The people staying are probably some very much a finer, wealthier class, but there's a lot of people who are perhaps, it's hard to place them, but don't necessarily need to be there with a group or a lot of friends. They're kind of loners, they're kind of sticking behind. They don't seem to know each other very well, if that makes sense. At this point, he starts actively getting people to almost make pledges. He's like, do you pledge us to keep yourself pure, to keep our race pure?
We need to find out what he knows about this disease. Has he seen the wood elf maybe?
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. He's pretty. I don't believe in what he's saying. Right? No, we walk around with a half elf. Like, purity is not our number one. And your elves are looking on, and they're not even that bothered about what this guy's saying.
He speaks of the disease.
I mean, yeah, I agree. This is like we should look into this. I just I'm not pro this guy.
We can't be seen to be overt.
He's staying in an inn locally, so we could always, in the evening, find him.
Maybe we can just keep an eye on him.
see who he talks to.
Yeah.
Can we find out where he's staying?
I asked your kids, they didn't know. That is the limit of my knowledge.
Ask the other. Can you ask Caston?
Yeah, I'll find out. You can ask him yourself when he comes back.
We're not speaking.
I think he's you
I
know,
don't know if our time is long.
he's feigning he looks like he's joining part of the group.
We might not have long before this crowd disperses.
I'm just in awe of just these suckers who have just been drawn in by this charismatic, religious fanatic. Just city suckers. Like, city suckers.
He just seemed to be, as you notice, he's making these pledges, he's grabbing these people by the shoulders and really kind of getting in their faces. And he's stood down from his box now and walking around the crowd. And I say, I'm so glad to have such strong brothers and sisters around me at this time of desperate need for us as elves. A time for us to come together and bound together against those that seek to disrupt us and bring this disease to our land. Hasn't noticed you yet.
Oh yeah, he's a half elf. So I assume you asked me what race he was.
Elantrix, can you make me an investigation check? Or a perception check. Perception.
18.
18, well done. Indomitus hasn't moved at all. It's not unusual for what you've heard of elves of that status. It's not unusual for them to enter almost trance-like states. You could probably stand there for a year if you wanted to. Almost the way we would describe it in our language as superhuman, right? They don't seem to need to sleep or even eat for long periods of time, unlike most common elves. However, you notice out of the corner of your eye a grey cloak at the kind of gated end of this marketplace, with a wide-brimmed hat. There's an unsteady eye line between this individual who you previously met, this person who's whipping up a crowd in the centre of this marketplace, and Indomitus on the mezzanine. There's definitely a look that passes. Just for a moment, you think you see Indomitus acknowledge him from the mezzanine. That's all that happens.
I think we should not be seen hanging around. I'd like to keep an eye on this guy, but I don't think we should.
Are these two still within?
Felix has come back to you guys.
Okay.
Caston's within the crowd, right? He can always be mistaken for one of them.
Find out what he's seen. We've got 10 seconds.
Well, I'm feeling just sick of religious mumbo jumbo. I'm coming back to say they're all saps. He's full of shit.
What you say?
We need to keep an eye on him, but we need to not be seen doing it.
People are dispersing.
Yeah.
There are carts and stalls and stuff though.
Yeah,
right?
let's
We
head
could-
for a let's
He's about to die. We move. Elantrix walks away.
It's about to die. Okay, we definitely don't want to be anywhere near him when that happens. Let's go and find a table to sit at somewhere
Yeah,
out of the way.
yeah.
So you're going to sit at the table. Can you
Yeah.
roll me? You can either roll me a stealth check
Oh,
to
I
be
can-
not seen,
I can do that.
or you can roll me a performance check in order to try and blend in.
Performance? Do we all roll or?
Yeah, you can all roll. Would
I'll
be
do- I'll
lovely.
give you-
If you're rolling with somebody, you can give them advantage and kind of
Okay.
tag
Well,
on
we're
their
rolling
coattails.
performance.
You can roll a performance if you're trying to blend in. You can roll
Yeah,
a
let's-
stealth check if you're trying to
let's-
literally stay outside.
Let's blend into the crowd as it disperses.
You can all do different ones if you
Yeah.
want.
We'll just
9.
I roll a 13.
We'll go and go find a table to sit at. I've got
19.
I've got 10 on performance. So
So you've got a 10, we've got a 9, we've got what we get over here?
19 performance.
19 performance.
13 performance.
13 performance. You guys are a little bit shorter than everyone else. You do disperse in the crowd. You kind of naturally kind of
Easy peasy.
have a chat. You kind of going around, just pointing in the distance, kind of doing all the things that a normal townsfolk would do. You kind of moving on. You guys, would you use a stealth or performance? Stealth roll?
Performance was 10.
10. Okay. A little bit more jarred. You're a little bit taller.
I'm walking away.
You look a little bit perhaps more nervous as you walk in. Nalantrix, was yours a performance or a stealth? Performance. You're an augur of now. That comes with certain advantages. It also comes with certain disadvantages. The disadvantage being you're fairly obvious. People give you a bit of a wide berth. They nod their heads, things like this. But because of that, you are quite obviously seen. This
I'll stick
individual.
with-
So you're heading over to like a cafe area, if that right? You're going to grab a table somewhere.
Yeah.
This individual in the grey cloak suddenly starts walking straight towards this group of people. And as that happens, he looks directly at you. And under his voice, almost, you notice as he turns his head, it pains him to do it. Because he's obviously being watched fairly closely. He says, I told you guys to stay out of sight. And then he keeps walking. And as he kind of appears in front of this group of people, they all suddenly snap their heads around and look at him. He takes his hat off and throws it on the floor. And at this point, random individuals in that group that more recently were quite pledging suddenly start to look very nervous and start to slowly disperse and start to kind of spread out. They're not necessarily running or walking away, but they're definitely spreading out. And he looks directly at him and says, Gander, I warned you about this. You start causing trouble in my town and I'm going to have to take you in. Now I ask you to stand down. You can either come with me quietly or we'll end this here. That's all you hear for now. You hear a voice in return, but you're probably a little bit of a distance away, so you can't quite make it out. You notice as this happens that this individual in the grey cloak places one hand by his side, and as he does, a jade object appears in his hand. It slowly starts to swirl around his hand, and before you know it, there's a large, kind of a 2 to 3 inch thick blade that appears and slowly starts extending out of his hand until it's actually very long. It's probably about 5 foot long.
Good news to get me that sword. Okay.
Nalantrix is going to turn around at this point and walk away.
Okay. You walk and just anywhere, just away. You're kind of probably,
You're not
as
gonna
you
help.
walked in from the gate, you're probably heading on to the left-hand side, because that's where most of the cafes would be. Your quickest way away would be back down towards the gate and then around kind of the outer side. If you wanted to get out of sight relatively quickly.
She has a feeling who she's dealing with, and she doesn't want to get embroiled in it. She feels we miss our day.
What about the rest of you guys?
Gonna hang out. Well, Felix is gonna stay at the table in the square and see how this thing plays out.
Pretty sure you haven't been seen,
Yeah.
or at least people don't seem to be looking that way.
I'm sticking with Elandrix at the moment.
The cafes are still, there's still people in them, but there's a hushed silence. If you
Yeah.
like. All of the mezzanines are now empty, bar one, which
Yeah.
has Indomitus on it.
Are there other people in the cafe watching?
They are like,
Yeah.
they're kind of keeping their heads down, but
Yeah.
they're quite happily watching.
So we can blend
I
in through.
think we're watching the duel.
Yeah.
I want to keep an eye on things out of the corner of my eye. I'm with Elandrix on this, but keeping an eye on it.
You can't see what Gendar is doing, who's this creature that people have been talking about, because he's slightly obscured by this grey cloak. And then very quickly, something happens. And you're probably unlikely to be able to resist it anyway. You hear a twang that you, Thaddeus, would know very well. It's the firing of a crossbow bolt, a very quick crossbow bolt. The grey cloak of the individual suddenly moves as the individual bends double backwards, very quickly.
A crossbow bolt fires straight across his chest and misses him by a couple of inches, to which he drives this jade sword directly through Gendar in a flash of an instant, as if it kind of didn't really happen. You do hear this voice over the top. At that point, the crowd of people just suddenly disperses. They start running in different directions. You hear a relatively loud voice. You're not really sure if it's for show or if there's genuine anger. Is that, damn it, Gendar, I told you it wasn't supposed to end like this. If you'd have come quietly, we could have finished this like honourable gentlemen. The back of this jade weapon kind of pierces this individual. And as you see it go through Gendar, initially it's kind of blood red. It's obviously freshly blooded. But that blood seems to disappear. It turns black and almost is absorbed by the weapon. And as quickly as it kind of formed, it sort of vanishes. And Gendar drops to the floor. Again, you hear a relatively low whistle. And a couple of guards kind of sidle up next to this individual, and they drag, one pulls their cloak up and they start trying to cover this thing.
Where are the Justicries at this point, like looking up at these mezzanines?
Indomitus hasn't moved.
They just watched that all
He's
happen.
just sat and watched, well, stood and hasn't moved at all, barely flinched, and watched the whole thing.
Do you think he's a cardboard cutout? Do you think he's even know? Maybe he's stuff, maybe he's your stuff.
Can you roll a probably perception check for me, just to see if what Indomitus is doing?
Not very good. 4 + 3 = 7.
It is cardboard.
It is actually cardboard. It doesn't seem to have moved at all.
Yeah, that seems really weird.
There's some commotion now, kind of guards are sidling up, they're obviously chatting to each other about what they do. This person in grey firstly picks up a hat, and you notice he picks up his hat just before a pool of blood kind of just reaches it and kind of picks it up and puts it back in his head.
Did we see Gendar?
Gendar.
Did we see Gendar fire an arrow?
It's hard to see in the commotion.
He seems a little bit out of character for a creature to carry a crossbow. I'm not talking to you because you know I'm in here.
You can't trust a creature.
No?
Especially not one shouting stuff like that. That's a creature made for action. That's someone on a liberation front.
No.
They're ready for action.
Yeah.
I'm joining.
I don't really believe in the whole purity thing, but something feels really odd about this situation.
So it feels very odd about the frozen one.
The what?
Frozen chap up there.
Oh, I thought you. Maybe you've seen some footage.
Interesting, all of a sudden, Indomitus leaves.
It just turns
He
again.
walks back into the inner room of this mezzanine. But you know quite clearly where it's staying, and you're quite aware of that.
Yeah.
The guards haven't moved the body on yet. They're kind of happy for it to stay there.
Something doesn't seem right about all of this.
And other than the fact that people are giving this central area a very wide berth, people are just kind of slowly reappearing and kind of milling about. But the whole of the centre piece is kind of very much missing.
Well, firstly, I'm proud we didn't get involved. That's pretty good. We could have died. That's pretty good. Number one, it's a victory. Secondly, it's where we should find the others.
Is there anyone around us who's doing the same as us, just kind of like watching and like?
Yeah, the vast majority of people around you haven't noticed you because they're doing exactly the same thing. They're kind of watching to see what the hell's going to happen.
Can I ask one, like, what just happened?
And it's relatively well-spoken half-elf who looks at you and says, well, I don't really know. Gendar's been here for a 10-day talking much the same thing, but people have been reacting to him a lot more recently. Whoever that is up on the mezzanine came in last night. It's very unusual to have a lord of that type around here. I guess the local justiciary felt that perhaps he was being watched. With the Duke not being around, I think he's been waiting before he carried out any orders. You know, the Duke is the king's brother. At the end of the day, he carries higher weight even than the justiciary. So, yeah, it's an unusual thing. I'm not quite sure.
So, friend, what's your name?
My name?
Yes.
Well, my name, I'm Jandy.
Jandy. Felix, nice to meet you. Just lay this out for me straight. So these dudes, these Justices turn up today, last night. This preacher's been allowed to preach for 10 days.
10 days. Alright, 10 days, yeah.
10 days. You know, Justice turns up. Suddenly, it's unacceptable. Now, dude gets killed. Does not feel a little bit weak.
Particularly all the law in the land. I think things were perhaps getting a little too far.
Do you know where the guy was staying? The preacher?
Oh yeah, he's at a small inn not far from here. I think it was called something like Downward Route maybe, or the Route Home perhaps, something about a route.
The old stump.
No, that's a trinket shop just up the road. I see what he's saying now. I think it's
Is it which direction?
it's on the square. It's one of the inns on the square, but there are many of them.
Here?
Yeah, it's one of the inns on the square.
Well, I think this is where we go next. If we can get to his things, his stuff, before everyone else. Thank you, friend. And, you know, stay safe.
No, thank you. Have a good day, both of you.
One last thing. If you ever meet any other talking dogs, just flip them a sausage, you know.
I'm sure to do that.
See you in a bit.
Good to meet you.
I think what we should do is we should find this. We need to find this guy's things.
Yeah, so you're going to head out and look for an inn.
Yeah.
That's the route in the name.
Yeah.
There are loads of inns in this area.
Yeah,
There
they're
are-
all root based.
Yeah, they're all various route-based, herbology-based inns.
Yeah. There's the old route and the new route.
Square root.
Yeah, square.
So what's Alantrix doing? Because you went round this corner and you avoided a lot of the commotion. Can you roll a perception check? 21, well done. You hear little bits of broken conversation. In particular, people are talking about this preacher and Tormund and what's been happening. Obviously, other people like you who didn't want to stay around and watch, having a chat about what they think might be happening. And funnily enough, the Duke is mentioned on more than one occasion, and the idea of him not being around for a couple of days has obviously spooked people quite a lot. It's clear that he perhaps daily visits this city. It's referenced that he's been acting strangely, and actually that perhaps other elves have been sent to figure that out, and they're worried about Indontis and what they're doing here. So yeah, it makes it quite uneasy for the people around.
Can I get any indication from the conversations going on around us of where the preacher may have stayed?
Not really. You can try, but you could roll an investigation check, but you're kind of looking at an open square and somebody who's just been kind of killed by the long arm of the law.
I've just got an...
Check his pockets for his hotel,
Yeah, his hotel ID.
his key.
Oh, I did the wrong... I rolled on intimidation instead of investigation. But I did roll an
Everybody's
actual...
very scared.
I did roll an actual 20, so if it had been an investigation check, that would have been 24.
24, okay. So you rolled a natural.
I just all I
20.
did was hit the wrong button, but I still rolled a D20.
So
Had
you
I
rolled a
not
natural
been
20 on
had I
investigation.
not been using the app, it would have been a D20 that I'd have rolled. And
With
I
your
would have got-
incredible powers of investigation on not a lot of information.
I'm good at this.
Yeah, you start thinking about the direction that he must have taken in order to get to that box. He's obviously not gone very far because he's had to lug the box forward. The particular type of wood the box was made from, you know, is probably held a spirit of some kind. So you're looking for a particular type of inn or pub
that serve spirits, which would probably mean that they serve a certain class of individuals that like getting drunk. Then it suddenly occurs to you that the box was made of wood. Wood comes from trees, and trees have bark as well as roots. And all of a sudden, the word root comes to your mind. That might be because you look around and see two short individuals looking up at a tavern called the Root Home.
You think it's this one?
I think it's not this one. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the pun doesn't really work in Elvish.
Yeah.
So it's written in both Elvish and Common, which is probably for just the fun bit. But it is written the Root Home with root spelt like the root of a tree.
Has it got like completely blacked out windows like a balancer at the front?
It's that kind of place, yeah. It's not. It's it's
The most insalubrious inn in an extremely posh.
yeah, it's definitely the lowest inn in a very posh area. So it's still quite nice, but just not as nice as everywhere else.
Yeah, it's like a Hollister's.
I spot these in the distance. I can spot these two making a beeline for this place, and
You're doing anything else in particular?
I guess she'll gather with her team for a moment.
So you gather around the entrance of the Root Home. It's wooden framed. You have there's a slight overhang of the top floor. So there's the mezzanine that comes out, just like all the other buildings, but there's a slight overhang of the top floor with wooden pillars that keep it up, and just a single kind of oak door that's actually open at this time of day. So you can see right into kind of tables and along the bar on the back end of the
If we go in there and get a drink,
Sure.
do you think you could be able to use that nose of yours to track down where that guy came from?
Yep, and if I need you, I can use my aquaboats and my floats to get myself there.
Right.
okay, we'll go in.
Absolutely. Welcome. Quite a commotion today.
Yeah, there's stuff happening out in there. Square.
It's been a long time since the Justiciaries brought the long arm of the law into our square.
Really? How long?
Gosh, we haven't had a public execution like that in a long time. I'm sure
Did
you
you-
know the
did you-
history. Are you from around here?
No, we're just passing through.
Travellers.
Did you know the guy?
Gendar, yeah. I stayed here for a 10-day.
Really? Stayed here.
Yeah, that's right.
Do there seem to be stairs to any rooms or anything?
Absolutely. So
I'll-
to the
I'll-
left-hand side of the bar, there's stairs.
Cool.
Well,
While this guy's
I'll get a round of drinks in.
yeah, while he's distracted, Felix is going to go that way.
You can roll me a stealth check.
With
Advantage because
he's
I'm
distracted.
doing some ordering of drinks and chatting. So,
I'm doing a dance.
A dancing halfling. That's incredible.
19.
Yeah, you can easily slip up the stairs. It's not. A lot of people obviously came in here when the commotion came up, so it's quite
Yeah.
busy. There's a lot going on. So you can pretty much slip up the stairs.
Cool. He's going to leave the sword at the base of the bar, like on the floor, but just so that he's not got a massive.
Yeah.
He's sneaking around.
Interestingly, you realise that a lot of people in here are kind of footmen, attendants, guards, perhaps. So it's not uncommon. Like it's probably more common that people are armed here, but they're not in a threatening way. But obviously, these are the people who guard other people who are staying here quite often. But also other travellers, more humans here than elsewhere.
Sweet.
yes, I'll get a round of drinks in.
Absolutely.
So,
Ale, wine, spirits.
I'll take an ale. One for my
Oh.
halfling friend.
And is it the elvish measure or the human measure? I'll give you halfling measure if you really want. Or gnomish.
No, give him a human measure. You try giving him a halfling measure, you'll find your kneecaps are being
Right.
very, very agitated.
Good.
I prefer 2 halfling measures.
2 halfling measures. Sure. He goes and gets something that's roughly akin to a pint. He kind of does a big hand pump
Handpumps are fairly uncommon. You will have seen them in Iqua, but they're fairly uncommon out and about. Most taverns mostly just pour it out of a cask. And my lady, it's been a while since we've had an Augur of Nell staying here. It's good to see you. Absolutely, yes. It's often the frequented place for Augurs, actually.
You know our message.
Yes, I do. Yes.
Very well.
Thank you, though.
And have you heard anything that would be of interest to me?
Well, Gandar used to drink in here every night. Spoke quite commonly of a plague. Plague's not that uncommon, the way he used to talk about it.
What did he say?
Apparently the Gnomish lands has been hit by some plague. People getting unwell. The gnomes don't seem particularly worried about it, but nothing phases those guys, does it?
Did he say any more?
Not particularly. He used to talk quite openly about the Duke, which is probably what's got him in this hot situation.
So you don't seem overly concerned that he's just been executed in front of the whole town.
I knew as soon as we had a high elf coming to visit here that he wasn't on for this one.
And what of the high elves? What do you know anything?
That was
of-
a whole other story. We know he's named Domitus or Galatius, one of the two. Came here just last night, holed up in that room. I think he intends to move on very shortly. Allegedly he's moving on. Strange coincidence though, he just happens to appear as soon as the Duke shuts himself off again.
Do you know anything about that?
The Duke? He's prone to episodes. Disappears here and there. This is all confidential.
Oh.
Well, there's if you head north, the Renthari estate stretches from here basically to the mountains. Most of it's their land. You run past the Mist House. Now, the Mist House, 10 years ago, used to have a woman, a human woman. The story out on the street was this human woman was Duke Renthar's other wife. Now, she had a child. Sadly, she lost her faculties, shall we say, as humans do over time. Ever since then, the Duke's not been quite all there, should we say. It led to a huge altercation between him and the son. Didn't end well, and sadly later on she lost her life as well. It's quite a sad story, really. The last 10 years, the Duke's prone to episodes, disappears for long periods of time. Who knows what he does hold up in there, but we see his wife every now and again. Lovely woman, very pleasant woman. It's a bit of a shame, really, that she got mixed up in all of this. Very high-born in her own right mind. Some say that actually she's as high as he is as well. The elves keep their romantic connections very close. I think it's, I don't know, but perhaps it's more politics than romance, perhaps. Yeah, awful shame. But you can go and see the Mist House. The people don't guard it anymore. It's kind of a ruin. We used to spin the tale of people travelling and want to go and see it. Don't know, get close to the royals, I guess. You noticeably, as he does this, he's likely a half-elf, or at least a particularly sophisticated-looking human. He pulls a big stein out of the bottom of the bar, takes a huge chug in it, just as he's working, and then just puts it back under the bar and just wipes his mouth on his sleeve. And for the lady, what can I get you? The Augur of Nell. Wine, spirits. A fine water, yes. I thought you might say that. He does actually have a barrel that seems to be clear, clean water, which, again, is fairly unusual. If not potent, it's obviously an officer to you. I won't charge for that, mind. Got to keep the augurs well watered, haven't we?
Thank you.
sneaking up the stairs.
Mm-hmm. Even though you have absolutely no idea where it came from, he does possess a crowbar. So out of this, out of this canvas coat, he's just gonna, like out of the sleeve, just
Yeah.
It's the key to the city. It's a crowbar. It's the best way to open your door. And he's just gonna like try and work out what doors up here look like rooms.
Yeah, so they probably they're relatively rough hewn by this point, so they're not the same as the front door, which was obviously a fine oak. They're kind of like a softer pine. Each one has a dark metal handle, obviously has a catch on it at the top that you can release with your thumb, and all of them have a little keyhole. So they're likely all to be rooms or storerooms, perhaps, but it's a relatively narrow corridor and there's doors either side, and they're kind of interspaced.
He's going to start walking along and knocking.
Yeah.
He's looking for the first room that no one replies.
Yeah. It's busy, right? But it is during the day.
Yeah.
So quite a lot of people do reply at various times.
Housekeeping.
People left the square,
Yeah.
and some of those people went to their rooms.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
bad things started to happen. Some of these people know Gendar, right?
Yeah.
So they're obviously not really wanting to be loitering around where they can be questioned.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people, as you knock on doors, seem a little bit worried and kind of do call out like, sorry, can I help you?
You're wrong room. Yeah.
And then when they hear your voice, they notice you right to, oh, not a problem.
Yeah.
You obviously don't sound like the kind of elf
Sure,
that's expecting
yeah.
to come kicking down their door.
Sound like
But you do
pudgy
eventually find the door there near the outside.
Oh, come on in. Oh, I don't mind if I do. He's going to crowbar that door.
It's very easy.
Yeah.
It's pine
All
wood,
soft
it's simple
woods, yeah.
rock. Yeah. With a crowbar, I'm not going to make you roll for it.
Okay.
You can snap this thing open.
Duh.
It's probably not particularly loud.
Yeah.
It makes a snap, but
Yeah.
it's probably lost in the cadence of everything else that's going on. The door flies open.
Where am I? Yes.
Where am I? Oh,
Oh,
that's good.
it's a good place to end.
Yes. And we're out.
It might still be streaming.
Yeah, it might still be streaming, but all of the computer equipment is gone.
It's just the monitor.
Yeah. I think our TV's turned off. We're still streaming.
We're still streaming.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. The monitor turned off and everything's fine.
Where am I?
Where am I? You snap open the door. Inside there's a carpeted room, so it's still relatively fine even for this area. There's a dark wood bed that isn't four-poster, but it's still relatively nice bed, quite narrow, and a single kind of chest of drawers. It's quite a narrow room. You're probably looking at kind of only 5 foot across, and then with the bed and a cupboard in there, it kind of takes up a lot of room. That is all there is in there. Relatively simple.
Is there anything to suggest that it was this guy's room?
Really hard to tell. The bed's been slept in, that's obvious,
Yeah.
but it is made after.
No luggage or anything.
This is one cupboard, basically.
Okay, he's gonna have a look. See. Yeah.
So in there is an extra set of clothes,
Yeah.
which are
Little white label in them saying you're in.
So you can-
Well, if this guy travelled through the gnome gate, he would have had to have had a pass and some paperwork, and that's what he's looking for.
Well done.
Yeah.
So you look in there, and there's a spare set of clothes.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things that take your notice. One is a little kind of almost like a coin purse kind of together, cheap material, kind of canvas material. But in it is best described as bric-a-brac or bits and bobs, right?
Yeah.
And they've probably meant something to this individual, but not specifically. One of them is a small ticket.
Sure.
And it's a little ticket. It's obviously not written by hand. There's something that's made this little ticket, and it is a ticket that would get you through one pass through the Gnomish Gate. Noticeably, it's got a hole cut through the middle.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things in here. One is a flyer, and that flyer says something very specific on it. I'll have to get right, so bear with. Not that it's important.
2 for 1 McDonald's.
You get a free chicken burger.
Oh my god.
Harker's House of Ribs.
It's an advertisement.
It's a fucking treasure trove.
When you have a piece of paper in your hand in this age,
Yeah.
lurid colours are quite unusual.
Okay.
And this one is bright red, so it's quite specific. It really stands out. And there's kind of gold filigree around the outsides, and right smack in the centre of it is this kind of very gold scripted writing that's kind of very broad. It says Stiltmeyer's cavalcade of contraptions for conflict, confrontation, and outright conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Or outright combat.
That is weird that he would be involved with that.
It's an advertisement.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's an advertisement. When you flip it over, that's on the front. You flip it over. There's some Elvish on there. There's some other language. You don't speak Elvish, do you?
No, he only speaks Elven and Common.
Cool. So there's a language that's got a series of some kind of words with like a series of dots in boxes that seem to differ with small symbols, and you're not really sure what they are. Interspaced with Elven that you can read. There seems to be more of the dots and boxes than the Elven.
Yeah.
But there are also some pretty absurd diagrams that you look at and you kind of like
lewd or
no, kind of like
Your mind goes there straight away, doesn't it? Every time.
weird contraptions.
Okay.
Lewd.
Roll a d12. Yeah, a series of kind of like pulleys, bladed objects, some kind of large balloon that you've no idea what that is. I
He has an idea.
I don't think that Felix would really be able to make head or tail of it, but there's lots of like weird diagrams with these dotted symbols everywhere.
Yeah. Cool.
I've got 8 on my d12, if that's significant.
Any,
Some would say it is significant.
are there any diaries or maps or anything else that...
Definitely no maps. In fact, if you
maps are very rare. Yeah.
if you cast your mind back, you won't have seen a map anywhere other than with the August Mill.
Okay.
You wouldn't have seen a map anywhere else, and it's unusual people to carry them. There's no kind of journal. You do find bits of paper in there that kind of have. The best way to describe it is some kind of jottings down, an ink and a pen is probably a quill.
Yeah.
Some kind of jottings down of how this person was going to order a group of people, and people who might be interested. So there's odd names written on here of people who'd obviously said they were interested in what he was trying to do.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
And also how he was going to organise it. It doesn't seem particularly professional. He seems to be making it up as he's going along.
Yeah.
But it's interspersed with what can only be described as ravings. Specifically about illness, about gnomes being unwell, about spreading of disease and it being related to races other than gnomes.
Cool. Ravings underlined. Sweet. So he's going to do one more sniff around and just see if any of the floorboards are loose or anything, just to see if there's anything hidden in this room. Nothing is hidden.
Advantage with the dog nose.
Oh, come on, baby. We'll take that. Investigation, 11.
You're sniffing around the floorboards, you're smelling around everything, you're giving everything a smell, you're pretty sure you can't find anything.
No creaky boys.
No, it's nothing seems to be hidden.
Okay.
It seems that he lived a fairly mundane life. There's nothing unusual. No unusual contraptions or weirdness.
Cool. Well, he's going to take that little packet of bric-a-brac.
Yeah.
Because that all seems useful. And pop that in his canvas cloak and head on downstairs. And sort of claw the door to sort of bring it back closed. Just like, and it's like nothing, man.
You come downstairs, you're confronted with your companions who are all having a beer, a glass of water and a beer, or an ale, a glass of water and an ale. They've got human-sized steins, which is one of the bigger measures.
Yeah.
Is it Jandy? Is that the name of the person or is that someone else?
Jandy is the name of the person behind.
The lunch is going to walk away from
Oh no, Jandy was the person you met in the cafe. Yeah, this person hasn't given you that name.
Okay. May I ask you an Andy?
Handy, Jandy, Pandy, and Landy. Dave.
Let's give it a go. None of these.
That's a fun.
Hello, I'm none of these.
I'm none of these persons. And my name is Balsam.
Well, Sam. She's going to walk a little way away from everyone else, so he's confident. It's just the two of them talking.
He's obviously around the bar serving you drinks, so as you walk off, he kind of looks at you and kind of moves over slightly.
I know a man of your intelligence and your charisma is likely to know the inner workings of what's going on.
I like to think I'm well abreast of the situation, yeah.
Did the 10-day in which Gendar was here, was anything shriven to you?
Shriven?
Did,
I'm not sure if I'm aware.
did you shrove?
Shrove? I'm not sure if I'm aware of this elvish word. Apologies, my lady.
It means to flip.
With lemons.
Did he confess anything?
Oh, confess.
Anything?
Oh.
That's disappointing.
We knew we'd get there.
Anything
That makes sense, though, doesn't it?
unusual which you wouldn't speak of more publicly?
That's a good question. He did used to drink an awful lot. He was keen to certain ravings, but they seemed to follow this idea that the plague from the Gnomish lands was going to make it here. He seemed to know an awful lot about what was going on. It's impossible to verify it. We haven't had a huge amount of people travelling to or from the Gnomish lands for a while now.
Do you have anybody who met up with him regularly?
Very much a loner type.
And while we're discussing Shrovings,
Yeah.
something strikes me about the Duke not being around here the last few days. That's unusual. What's your read on that?
You roll a persuasion check. With advantage. Everyone's having a beer, everyone's having a good time.
Just loads.
Loads and loads.
23.
23. Well, they say that he has these episodes where he disappears. A lot of people theorise why that is. And people who aren't from around here kind of think he's had a human mistress, he's always got strange tastes, particularly people who think elves are better than everybody else. Like to think that that's what he gets up to, taking humans back to his manor. The rest of us know him very differently. He's a very clever man, a very well-bred man. The assumption, thought, is that he's been using magic.
Dun dun dun!
The death of his mistress, we don't know whether that affected him personally, whether he's just sickened to see her succumb to such a human illness, but it obviously embarrassed him. He was prone to episodes, if you like, that you only really see in the real purest of elves. Otherworldly experiences as he spoke. He was an individual that seemed to very suddenly during a address to the people might suddenly see something that wasn't there. Speak as if you have real wisdom and understanding of something you couldn't possibly. Mind you, the Duke is perhaps over 1,000 years old. Perhaps what he was saying is true. But that generally the thought was he was some form of, I don't know, what you call it, magician?
And if one were to request an audience with
Oh, I knew you were going to say
how would
that.
that be achieved?
Absolutely. The Duke calls an audience with you.
Say that.
People have audiences. You might as well go and gallivant off and have an audience with the king. I mean, what? How? It's impossible.
You're now going to ask if it's possible for an augur of Nell to have an aren't you? Oh.
I guess we'll find that out next week.
But until then, we have been.